To a One Take Podcast, episode 164. We are joined, as always, it seems, by Mo, who, because she has seen everything except for, I guess, Wonka and Ferrari and Anyone But You
Okay, I'm getting exposed.
and the Iron Claw.
So
I'm being exposed.
No, so we brought her on because she has seen a lot of movies, and we are doing a year-in wrap because literally every movie ever came out this week.
So many fucking movies. Why? Why now?
I said
Where
this
were
week,
you when
past,
we needed you?
Yeah, the past couple
June.
weeks. You remember
Literally
in
when we
August?
needed you.
Remember when there was nothing in August? I went back.
Nothing.
We didn't review anything.
It's nasty as hell that they put out 25 movies that people actually cared to see in the month of December. And literally, there were months after the Barbie Oppenheimer cleared everything out. There was nothing there. And it's just crazy that ended up happening like that. I feel like I've been watching movies I spent my all December watching movies. That's all I did.
I got so behind because I was traveling so much this year, especially December. So every movie y'all are saying that I missed was the release of December.
You were gallivanting around the world. Too good to watch movies like us normal people.
With us plebs.
With us poors in the theater in Katy, Texas, watching Wonka. You're in
everything and not to go to the movies in the Bahamas. I was like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
You do need to watch this movie. And they had a really cool thing at our resort. So I was like, oh, they have movie night. And I was like, don't do this. Don't do this.
Hey, guys, fuck this beach. I got to go watch Poor Things.
Yeah. I was like, don't do it. But no, I'm glad we're all on the same page because I definitely watched probably, 200-300 movies. And I'm still missing about 60. That I need to watch. No, I'm missing a lot of films that I need to watch. So
and the funny thing is that we're going to end up doing our top 5 movies. Mo, we'll ask you for yours before you get off and we talk about the movies that you haven't seen. But we'll ask you for your top 5 films of the year. The funny thing is, 2 of the best reviewed films still haven't come out yet. All of Us Strangers and why am I blanking?
American Fiction.
American Fiction. Yeah.
Holdovers also, I think it's out, but you have to rent it. Where's Holdovers?
Peacock.
Do I have to go to a Peacock? God.
So yes.
American Fiction isn't out yet?
No, not really.
Not here.
Why do I know so many people that have seen it?
Because you know people that went to the premiere.
You coastal elites.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You know people that were there for when everybody saw it.
No, I'm jealous to be the elite.
I'm jealous of you. I'm shocked that Poor Things came out in Waco, Texas, and has run for 2 weeks because I thought I was going to miss it because usually these movies, like I always say, come out on the Wednesday of Thanksgiving or something like that for a day, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, Poors, you missed it." So I don't know. Anyway,
we can talk about Poor Things because we can. But
no, yeah, we are going to talk about Poor Things. We're going to talk about
what a film.
Cinema, real cinema.
Someone said Holdovers is on Blu-ray. Did you hear Best Buy's not even selling Blu-rays anymore? They're getting those shits out of here. That's crazy.
Buying Holdovers on Blu-ray is insane. I'm sorry. The vibes are so bad in that movie. It's good, but god damn, the vibes are terrible.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I want to see it.
Going through
it.
So we are going to be talking about, with Mo, we're going to be talking about The Color Purple, and we are going to be talking about
Saltburn,
Poor Things, and one more, right?
Maestro.
So all similar movies.
Very.
All very similar, yeah.
All feature big fucking weirdos. That's the through line.
I want to delay the Saltburn discourse for a minute because I still haven't seen Saltburn. That is the one that I have yet to see because it's gross and I don't want to watch it. So
and not you cooking me to start the show up.
Hey,
it's also awful, but we'll get to it.
I'm the host. I'm the host of the show. I'm held to a different standard.
Okay, you get passes.
Right.
No. Let's start with Poor Things.
We'll start with Poor Things, and then I do want to talk about The Color Purple pretty quickly because it's top of mind for me because I saw it today and it really honestly had like a resounding effect on me. Like I'm still thinking about that movie. But Poor Things. Poor Things came out early. I think it was a Sundance movie? It may that or a Venice movie. It came out in one of the film festivals. It is shockingly not an A24 movie, but I believe a Fox Searchlight picture. So you know, it's funny. It came out in Middle America, but still a lot of people have not seen this because it's not technically really wide yet. So that is shocking to hear that not a lot of people have actually seen this. 2023, rated R. If in case you're wondering, don't take your kids.
There's a lot of sex in this
much
film.
to explain.
There's a lot of sex in this film. Do not take your kids.
You know what? Also, don't take your parents. Go by yourself. Go by yourself. Don't take your spouse. Yeah, just go by yourself. Although I will say that the old couples that were in the movie theater at 11 a.m. like I was, were dying laughing. So
I also saw this movie at 11 a.m. Oddly enough.
wait, it was either 11. I'm so confused now. Like I'm saying, we've seen I think 10 movies over the last few weeks, but like, no, I saw this one at 11 p.m. Equally as weird.
No, definitely not equally as weird. Watching this in the middle of the day, that's not equally weird.
8.5 on IMDb, 86 Metascore, incredible reviews. Stars Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Rami Youssef, and a host of other character actors that you may know, including, well, also Gerard Carmichael makes an appearance as well. But character actors, my main question for this movie is where the fuck does Yorgos Lanthimos find these people? The characters in this movie are bananas. Anyway, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, written by Tony McNamara. It's actually based upon a novel by Alistair Gray, which I didn't quite realize. And essentially the plot of the film is female Frankenstein. So go with that. Take that and run with it. This is the second pairing between Tony McNamara and Yorgos Lanthimos. Their last one was The Favorite.
The Favorite,
and this is
real cinema. We're
going to try to keep these reviews to like 30 minutes a movie, if that, because we got a lot to go through, like I keep saying. But
that would be a 4-hour podcast. I think we should go 15.
15 minutes. Okay.
Oh, you're muted. We couldn't hear you.
But
yeah, 15-hour podcast. My bad.
Hey,
Like,
welcome to the one.
Give you guys.
Welcome to the One Take Podcast Experience. OneTakePodcastExperience.com. This is the second pairing between Tony McNamara and Yorgos Lanthimos, and my review is Yorgos Lanthimos needs Tony McNamara. That is my review. So, Mo, what did you think about Poor Things?
Well, I don't agree with that.
So, Poor Things for me was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what time I watched it. I think I watched it at a normal hour, but it didn't change.
In the evening. It
was so abnormal anyways. I think it was like 4:00 when we watched the movie. The first thing, I didn't love it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't love it. The reason why I didn't love it is because if you're going to be that bizarre, I'm going to need a little bit more explanation on like some of the things that we're doing and some of the people. Shout out Gerard Carmichael. I just don't understand why that character is there.
To make you realize the world is bad.
Yeah, like we know, and it's like, okay. And then the dialogue was just and I know that was like on purpose. The dialogue was very like, we're being, morally like corrupt versus morally sound, and we're making a statement. But for me, it was like, it kind of just got a little boring dialogue wise, and it was just visually stunning, which I love. The sound was very, very fun too. That went well with it visually, but it was just the writing for me that was like, okay, we're just like on a journey here. It was very much, is it labeled an adventure genre? It was very much an adventure. It reminded me of Triangle of Sadness. It reminded me of Beau is Afraid, just kind of everywhere. We don't know what we're doing at any given time, but we're in it because Emma Stone kicks ass. She's amazing. And that's just kind of my feelings about Poor Things.
It is labeled, it has 18 tags on IMDb, including dark comedy, romantic epic, sci-fi epic, comedy, drama, romance, sci-fi.
Odyssey, epic adventure. Yeah, it's giving like we just kind of went on a journey. But I like, and I say I didn't love the dialogue, but some of the quotes were fucking fire. I enjoyed them. Some of them, like like 3 of them, and 2 of them
She
were
has some nuggets in there.
yeah. There's some good ones there. What y'all think?
I will be continuing to call my sex life furious jumping.
Me too.
I haven't told my wife that yet, but I'm sure she'll go with it. Tej, what'd you think? Because y'all saw this together.
So I love Yorgos. He's one of my favorite directors. He's weird as shit. He's never made a movie that I don't like. He's actually never made a movie that I don't really like. However, he has made movies that I don't love, and Poor Things is one of them. I really like Poor Things. Unlike Monique, I think the dialogue is real sappy. I think it's a very funny written script. The dialogue is kind of what carries the film for me, other than the performances. But in that first 20 to 25 minutes where she's in the house, so we didn't say the plot of this film is basically like Royden said, kind of like Frankenstein. This mad scientist creates basically. Spoiler alert, obviously, for all of these films that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we don't have time to break down.
We don't have time to break it down and then go back. So this scientist basically created took a dead human that was pregnant and took the mind of the baby that was in this dead pregnant woman and put the mind of the baby into the body of the mother. So the mother is dead. Now the mind of the baby is in an adult body, which is Emma Stone. So she is she basically has a child's mind at the beginning of the movie. Like she's grown, but she's throwing food at people. She's running around the house like she's literally a kid. She doesn't know the nature of her creation and probably wouldn't understand it anyway because she's literally like a 5-year-old. So you get this stuff in the beginning where she's kind of figuring out her world and everybody's kind of figuring out what she's about because nobody knows that she's created this way other than our mad scientist character. So in that first 20 to 25 minutes when we're in the house, I'm like, well, we really need to get her outside in the world. And I knew she was going to be outside in the world because I had seen the trailer. Too much stuff in the trailer once again, but I had seen the trailer, so I knew she was going to be out in the world. So I thought the movie really benefited from when she really got out to the world. And then it really picks up for me. Then it really gets funny. It gets really snappy. And I really enjoy that part of the movie. There are things that plot-wise that I feel like are a little weak in terms of how we get her out in the world, how she ends up in certain places or making certain decisions. But I just love the Hulk's performance. I love Emma Stone's performance. I guess I shouldn't call him the Hulk, but you know who the Hulk is. He is fucking incredible. Everything they give Ruffalo to do is so funny.
Hilarious.
The Ruffalo Emma Stone interactions are all to a point just so fucking hilarious. He's the way he's playing his character is so pathetic and so perfect. I just really liked their chemistry together on screen. I enjoyed this movie. This is not my favorite, and it's not going to go on my Yorgos Hall of Fame. He's one of my favorite directors, like I said, but it wasn't a movie that I loved. But I really did like it, and the script is just there are multiple laugh out loud funny moments. Either physical comedy, Emma Stone's doing a lot of physical comedy, but
Speaking
even when
physical comedy, can we talk about why she was walking like that the whole time? At some point,
that bothered me.
Walk like that anymore.
Once she was becoming like a teenager, young adult mentally,
why is she's still
walking funny. Yeah, I didn't.
Nobody taught her how to walk properly. They were just she was interested in cutting things.
But then she has sex and she's able to walk. I'm sorry, furious jump, and then she's able to walk.
Hey, I mean, don't ask questions.
What we do here. And I will reiterate, there is a ton of sex in this movie. You are seeing dicks, you are seeing boobs, you are seeing a ton of sex in this movie, and it's like, okay, we understand. She obviously she's really into sex. She's never experienced these things before, so you're kind of there as she's experiencing these things for the first time, and how they kind of take hold, and it plays a big part in the story. But also, there's just a ton of gratuitous sex in this movie, a ton of it.
It's probably I'm not kidding, the most sex that I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Is it really, you guys?
I think
they could have put more in it for me personally. I think it was fine.
All movies need more sex.
I thought it was fine.
That's not what we want. I'm just.
It is way more Emma Stone boob than I was expecting. I was like, oh, there they are again.
I mean, this is a movie with
there they are again.
Again and again and again. It's constant.
I had a good time. And Mark Ruffalo, like this cast is crazy. I had a good time.
Dex, go.
Yeah, I really, really like this movie. The ending is a little weak for me. They just kind of like, we're just gonna wrap it up. Didn't really like that. But I did really enjoy the rest of this movie. Hardest I laughed in the movie theater pretty much all year, outside of maybe like Barbie. This shit was hilarious to me. Everything Mark Ruffalo said or did was funny. Emma Stone's like the re-education of Emma Stone in this movie is just so funny. The weird little cuck scientist guy from the beginning was also hilarious. I just really enjoyed this movie. Emma Stone's performance was my favorite of the year, honestly, from an actress. I'm sorry, Lily Gladstone. I hate it had to be you, but I got to take Emma Stone in that category personally.
That's crazy.
I just thought she like that character is really hard to play and make it work and not annoying, and she was never annoying to me. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I like the ways they tried to like make different cases about how the world works or whatever. You have the creepy lady from Tragedy of Macbeth, like the pimp in the brothel, like, telling her like, this is how the world works. And then Gerard Carmichael shows up. He's like, no, this is how the world works. Mark Ruffalo's like, no, this is how the world works. I like how they kind of did that. Like I said, the only thing I didn't like about it was how it just kind of ended. I felt like they could have gone in a different direction with
really
it.
sprinted to the finish.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I didn't hate the ending, but it was definitely rushed. I guess this is one of those rare moments where I was like, I'm okay with it ending like this. This is fine. I liked it. I smiled, Dex, how do you feel about, if you don't mind me asking, how do you feel about like, actually all of you, the commentary we were talking about sex for furious jumping for men versus women and us being our own means of production and things like that. How did y'all feel about that?
That was a bar.
That was a great line.
We are our own means of production. That was a bar.
Yeah. I love that commentary. And even like when she first like goes to the brothel and comes back to Mark Ruffalo and he's like, how could you do that? She's like, what do you mean? Like, why wouldn't I do
that? You have to understand, like, as a woman, this is like extremely poignant and like extremely important. I feel like every single straight man needs to watch this now, right? But it's really hard to do because instead of like being very serious about it, she was like, Emma Stone is perfect. Like I respect your idea that she is, the best, or she should get the best for the year, because it's like you do that and you present that and it can be kind of like, oh, we're gonna think piece it, but no one wants to think piece it. It was like, no, this is fun, this is important, this makes sense, this is bars. So I really appreciate that as a woman, that commentary was shown through a lens of a child, but an adult. But it was that's hard. That's hard to land, and they landed it.
I think because
someone's doing philosophy, like on that kind of like on a pop culture level, that's just like I'm in the wheelhouse for that. I really like philosophy. I'm a nerd about that kind of stuff. So to have like literal philosophical debates, but in a very humorous way, in terms of like, I just thought that was like great script writing, and I was totally locked into that stuff. I think that the adult stuff, the early adult stuff, just works so much better than the baby stuff. But the baby stuff is maybe the hardest part of the performance. So I have a respect for the performance, but I was really ready for her to grow up, because the baby stuff is like, okay, I had to add 10 minutes of that, and then let's get out into the world and let's figure some stuff out. I could have really done with doing that faster, and then having more time to not rush to the ending, but get to the ending. I also really hated I don't mind bringing the husband back, but the way that so this person
so fast.
Yeah, like that whole thing happened so fast. I was just like, all right, there's literally a new character that's instrumental to the story, but not really, and also the movie's ending now. I just thought it was really weird, the pacing of it.
Yeah. The whole time, it didn't feel like the plot was like going anywhere. Like Mo said, it was just kind of like we're on an adventure. It's like, it's very welcome to this world. It's not like we're telling you a specific story about like a specific thing. And then they were like, well, they're probably curious about like the husband, right? I guess we got to throw him in here, and then we'll just like wrap it up there. And it's like, well, I mean, I was kind of curious, but not like this. Like,
Yorga Yorgos is a director who everything like I hate to ascribe directors this like because a lot of the times like film critics and film scholars will be like, well, the blue chair represents da 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 da, and then the director will come out and be like, no, I just like the color of the chair. But
That was the chair we had available.
yeah,
that day for
exactly.
shooting.
That's what we could find for the budget. But I think I ascribe a lot. Yorgos is one of those directors that I ascribe that like every frame of whatever he's doing is like intentional, and the way that he tells the story, I feel, is intentional. Like you don't build these elaborate sets and have the camera movements and everything that you do to not be intentional with with every part of your film. And so just the ending, there's some symbolism there. I'm too dumb to get it, but like there's definitely something going on there. I got to watch it again to really kind of digest all of the messaging, especially some of the stuff that y'all were talking about that I missed, because I was so swept up in, God damn, this is funny. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's really
shit is
funny.
hilarious.
It's
Yeah.
really funny, especially in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to ask y'all about the ending. Sorry to interrupt you, Royden.
Go ahead.
Is the ending of this movie better or worse if they put Willem Dafoe's brain into the husband's body?
Ask Monique.
Wait.
That would've been good.
Wait. Let's let Royden finish because we need to talk about this.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wrap it up here in a minute.
I said this when we were watching. When me and Monique were watching, there's a point where they showed like there's like
It's intentional. Yeah.
her God character. I love the fact that his name was God, by the way. That made for so many funny moments.
Godwin, but
His name was
she's
Godwin, but she calls
God,
him
why? Yeah.
Godwin. Yeah.
So there's a moment where Godwin is dying. He's coming to grips with the fact that he's dying, but Emma Stone, who had been basically kidnapped by the husband of the woman who she was before this whole surgery happened, she's kidnapped, so she's not there when he's dying. She gets back right before he's dying, and then the husband is basically her captive. So she's like, she's gonna turn him into something. So I was like, oh, she's just gonna put his brain. I turned to Monique. I was like, oh, she's gonna put his brain like because God's ugly, and he talks a lot about how he's ugly. He doesn't have a penis, right? So God's ugly. He can't have sex. So like this hot husband character who's a piece of shit, just put God's brain in him. Then he has a dick, and then he can have sex. Because there's a funny moment where the cut guy, his scientific understudy, thinks that God is fucking this creation. So he's like, I don't have feelings for the creation, or maybe I would.
He's a eunuch. Yeah.
But he didn't know that. So he's just like, I assume you created her because you love her because you want to be with her. And he's like, no, I'm a eunuch. I don't have a dick. Like I can't do any of that shit. So
do you like this ending better, or do you prefer Dex's ending?
100% better with Dex's ending. I thought that's what was coming. I saw it coming. I was like, yes, put his brain in God's body and let God get a couple more bars off and let God go find some people to have sex with. Love that. And they did not. They just put him. They put
In a goat.
the husband into a goat, which I'm sure, like Royden said, has some symbolism. But it's much better and much funnier to me if we put God's brain inside the husband instead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mo.
If this movie was Saltburn, maybe you put God's head into the thing just to kind of make a point. But Royden, like you said, this movie is fucking hilarious. And making him a goat is fucking hilarious. I don't think it's funnier if you put God's brain into it. I think we expected that. And, you know, as someone that goes into movies blind for just to save myself from, you know, a ton of prediction and expectation since I watched so much film, I appreciated that. I was like, oh, they're going to put God's brain in there. I guess you could excite me by, you know, giving me some more dialogue of God. But I think we've got enough from God. I think we're great. I think that's good. I think
he also like wanted to die, it seemed like.
Yeah, it seemed like he kind of wanted to die.
Yeah.
I want to die too if I gotta burp a bubble every time I eat. That's weird.
That was so gross.
It works because instead of redeeming or reviving a character, we embarrassed another and we punished another. And that's what I like, because it represented that our, you know, protagonist, or whatever you want to call her, you know, she is developing an understanding of what it means to be vengeful and things like that. So I really, really liked it.
Like realizing the rest of her human emotions sort of thing.
Yeah.
It is a good for her moment, but I'm also like, I would rather her have the moment of like just putting more good in the world.
I am queen of good for her. That's why I love it.
The way Defoe acts when he does the burp thing, the way he does the noises is so gross.
Why did we do that, Royden?
Because look, nobody knew what movie we were in because Emma Stone was walking around like a baby and like doing all this stuff, and everybody was kind of like, "What the hell?" And then Willem Dafoe leans back and burps a bubble into the air, and I cried laughing. I was like, "This is the funniest thing I've ever seen."
It took me a minute to be like, "Is this movie funny on purpose or not?" And then I was like, "Oh yes, it definitely is."
This is like the only time I'm gonna ever say this word if I'm quoting a movie. But right before the burp, he was like, "She's a beautiful retard." This movie's not serious.
Right.
This movie is very unserious.
No, I just think to wrap up the review of Poor Things, go see it. It'll probably be expanding even wider soon. But I think this explores things with womanhood, with feminine sexuality, with this is going to sound weird, but with like children discovering themselves. Like they do a whole bit of that with Emma Stone, and like that's like
masturbating.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's something that's so like taboo in our culture that nobody wants to talk about at all. Is that eventually this happens with every child, sort of thing.
20 whole minutes of it and a reference multiple times. It was great.
And it was and I just think the interplay between her and Mark Ruffalo was some of the funniest like dialogue that I think I've heard this entire time. And they just went for it. And that's why I agree with Dex. I think she's the leader in the clubhouse for me for best leading actress, because the choices that she made on camera were brave and funny and pitch perfect every single time, except for the walk thing, which Mo said. But like you
noticed it too.
At the very end, I think she figures it out. But like most of the time, she's like
the last 20 minutes she learns to walk, but most of the movie she's very, very wobbly on her feet, like very wobbly.
I didn't understand that. That didn't add to the movie. It was like you're already weird enough. We don't need her to walk normally.
My jaw dropped on the floor when they get done having sex 3 times. She wanders around the wherever they are for that second set piece.
Yeah, like outside the house.
Yeah, outside. She wanders around, comes back, he's awake, and she just drops her pants and in like full frontal goes, "All right, you will furious jump me again." And I was like, "Oh my God." Like, yeah.
And don't forget the tongue play either.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be a tough one to explain to your partner what you're watching at like 11 o'clock at night. But like, trust me, when it comes out, do yourself a favor, watch it. Yorgos and Tony McNamara are a really good pairing. I'll end with what I was saying is that having seen a couple of Yorgos's previous American releases without Tony McNamara, now I've seen some of The Favorite. I haven't seen all of The Favorite, but I think Tony McNamara elevates him to a level that is so much more clearer to audiences. And while his like weird sensibilities and humors are still there, they come out better when Tony McNamara puts pen to paper. Fair. And then like this Killing of the Sacred Deer is funny at parts. The Lobster is hilarious at parts. It is just bleak. In the past couple of movies,
very dark. Yeah.
There's like a more lighthearted sensibility to some of his stuff. And I know probably The Favorite isn't the most lighthearted.
How have you not finished The Favorite?
I just haven't.
The Favorite.
It's not streaming anywhere. I don't want to rent it. Dex, you haven't watched it either.
Of course I have,
brother. There are ways around this. You need to finish this. I'll send you a link tonight. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
I got it.
But I have watched the 2 weird ones, Killing of the Sacred Deer and The Lobster, and I feel like this.
The Lobster's great. Monique, what's wrong with you? I'm so disappointed.
I also haven't seen The Lobster, and I haven't seen Killing of the Sacred Deer.
I've seen everything that he's ever made.
We're the worst.
So
speaking of weird ones,
do y'all want to do Saltburn now, or do y'all want
to?
Okay, we'll
go to Monique first.
We'll do back-to-back weird movies.
Oh, this is going to be quick.
I haven't seen Saltburn. It's on Amazon, so 1 billion people watched it over the. Have you seen the TikToks of people showing this to their families over the Christmas break?
No. God. Oh my God.
Cool people are like,
not do that.
People are like, I won the coin flip, so I got to show this to my parents over Christmas break.
Oh my God, that's a
and didn't tell them what it was.
I would have a stroke watching this movie.
Saltburn came out earlier this year, like in November. So this wasn't a holiday movie. 2023, 2 hours, 11 minutes. A student at Oxford University finds himself drawn into the world of a charming and aristocratic classmate who invites him to his eccentric family's sprawling estate for a summer never to be forgotten. Stars our favorite weirdo, Barry Keoghan, our favorite hot guy, Jacob Elordi, Rosamund Pike, Richard E. Grant, Archie Madekwe, and a host of other young actors. Written and directed by Emerald Fennell, her follow-up to Promising Young Woman, boo. But for as much as this movie was talked about, even when it came out, now I know why it's being talked about now. Like I said, it's on the biggest streaming, one of the biggest platforms on the planet. This made no money. I don't know how many people were, this dominated discourse online. It made $20 million across the world. And until streaming, it was like at $8 million. So I don't know how that happened or what, but Saltburn, hold on, what was the Metacritic score for it?
I can tell you why that happened, because it stinks.
61 on Metacritic, 7.2 on IMDb. Mo, why did you love this?
Okay, you ruined it.
I think I said that before you logged on anyway. I think I told America that you loved it.
Stop it. Don't ruin my pizza,
Sorry.
performances, dude. This movie is sick. This movie is camp. This movie is sick. This movie has a bunch of crazy, insane, sicko shit in it. And I fucking loved it. I loved it. I don't know why Promising Young Woman got anything that it did. Get it out of here.
Could not fucking tell you.
I have no idea. Zero clue. She improved by, I don't know, like 1,000%, because this movie was fun. This movie was good. Here's what I will say. Straight men do not like this movie. That's just what it is, okay? That's just what it is. You feel me? That's what it is. Straight men don't like this movie.
I think that's mostly true from like anecdotal evidence that I've seen.
I'm literally like, talking about the social media presence, which is how streaming services affect, like, that's why it's so cool to like talk about film now because of streaming services. But like, if you can't enjoy this movie if you don't let yourself just sink into being a sicko in love. And obviously there's a sicko in love, and he's also not straight. He is probably bisexual, right? And so it touches on a lot of things that people cannot relate to. And I don't think that it made a lot of money, probably because it also presents as a very boring, it almost sounds like it should be a TV show. Why are we talking about a kid at school in college in this time period falling in love? Like, why are we doing this? But I mean,
sounds like a CW show.
Yeah, it sounds like very.
If they would have presented this as an erotic thriller like it was 1998, I think it probably would have done better.
I'm telling you, it's the marketing thing that I'm like, I always pay attention to that. I'm like, I don't know if because who cares? But you got Jacob Elordi, you got Barry, you got, these are powerhouses, right? And so I don't know. I had the time of my life. I love seeing a sicko in love. And yeah, that's my review.
Yuck.
Yeah, Mo,
y'all take it from here. I didn't see it.
I respect your opinion on everything all the time. You're one of my favorite people to listen to talk about movies. I could not disagree with you more about this. This movie fucking stinks. I hated it. I watched this movie. I watched this movie knowing that there was some sicko shit in it. I had like just seeing vague Twitter shit about, the word bathtub, and like I didn't know what that meant. I just knew it was weird. So I go into this movie expecting some weird shit. It's weirder than I even expected. And then you get to the end of the movie, and it's like none of the weird shit that you just saw matters at all. And also, Emerald Fennell thinks you're an idiot and that you need this broken down to you in the most obvious, drawn-out, dumbass montage ever. It's got to the end of it like, what was any of this for? Like, why did this happen?
Because Rosamund Pike is that girl, and we need to see
she is.
That montage.
She's great in this movie. She's the only good part about this film.
Got nominated for a Golden Globe, by the way. Her and Barry Keoghan.
best.
Hey, if she gets the best supporting actress nod, I'm here for that. But
I'm
like
not here for that. But she's great. She's
everything
great.
else about this movie, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing and why? Like,
Y'all hated this movie.
yes, it stinks.
Oh my god, the movie
Roosevelt
was
Pike
so
was great, but
fun.
other than that, this movie absolutely stinks. I hate everything.
The twist is the cheesiest, dumbest, like just. Obviously, you can make anything sound stupid when you say it in the tone that I'm about to use, but the twist of this movie is literally he was murdering them the whole time. Like, we know. Like,
Which
that
we
was so.
literally knew when the first body dropped. We literally knew. I don't know why she chose to hide from us. What that didn't make any sense to me. Who else would have killed this dude? Everybody else loved him, and he turns up dead. And it's like, oh, who did it? It's like we fucking know who did it. Why
They're
are you
corn
hiding it
mazes
like
by
this?
themselves, and then one dies. Of course he killed him. Like, why do we have a montage to explain
The
this? We
last thing
know.
they show you before he's dead is Barry Keoghan's character literally saying, I wish you hadn't have done it this way. Now it's got to be done another way, or whatever the hell he says to him, and he storms off. So you know that when the sun comes up and that dude is dead, there's no other reasonable thing to infer other than, oh, he
But
did it.
you didn't know how he did it.
Yeah, okay, but the twist of the movie can't be this guy killed him. It's like, duh.
No,
You
the
showed us he
twist,
killed the first
the
guy. So we
twist
knew he
of
killed
the
everybody else.
movie is a thin line between love and hate. That's the twist of the movie.
Oh my god.
Also,
This-
can I further this conversation along by saying I have read spoilers and listened to stuff all about this movie. That's why I
Watch it.
haven't watched it. I will watch it now.
No,
But
you're not.
I'll
Yeah.
just have to for the discourse.
have
But I don't want to be preached at about class warfare from jewelry heiress Emerald Fennell.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that. Like,
She didn't do a good job, so you don't even worry about that.
I want
Yeah.
her defunded. I want her defunded.
yeah, get her out of here, man. She's all for two in my eyes.
This woman is a bum. She's a slut. Her movies are not good. Get her the fuck out of here.
Margot Robbie, I love you and I love your production company, but you bought a bad horse. Like this, like you sound what you can.
I cannot stress this enough. Promising Young Woman. To this day, I cannot believe I'll never get those hours back. I'll never get them back. I'll never get
Oh my god, that shit stunk. Like
We were all in our houses, and I was like, "God damn it!" Like,
And
I was equally pissed off by the ending of
Oh.
Promising Young Woman and Saltburn.
the only reason that anger just sits with me is because it won an award.
For screenplay. Like, what are we doing?
What? I can literally name 100 movies that year that came out that were better than that. Please.
Facts.
Right, just
100 that year. Please. Oh,
but yeah,
Saltburn?
so much the ending of Saltburn just makes so much about the rest of the movie not make sense to me because like
But
if
love
you-
doesn't make sense.
what you didn't love those people.
First of all, and second of all, okay.
Love and hate. He
okay,
was
but
obsessed.
did he love the sister character who he goes down on when she's on her period, or did we just do that for shock value? We quite literally only put that in the script for shock value.
Okay,
It serves
all
no
of you,
purpose to the plot.
you enjoy Marvel movies. Now you got a problem with shock value moments?
Yes, I do. When it involves somebody going down on someone on their period specifically to shock us, this guy is fucking a dead person's grave. A dead person that he
He's a
killed.
sicko. You
He
need to
fucked his
really,
grave.
if you're gonna make a sicko, you got to
He
commit.
fucked his grave, Mo.
But
He
why
fucked
can't
his
we
grave.
Why can't we have him do sicko things that go into the plot of the film
Your
of what
sicko-
drives his character?
This movie changed your life. Your sicko threshold has now adjusted completely. Every movie you watch from now on, you're
Well,
gonna
you
have.
know how long I've been watching porn on the internet? My sicko threshold is already high enough. What are you talking about? I've seen things that Emery Fennell would run out of the room. She would never
No,
want to see
clearly
the
not.
things
If you're
I've seen.
that shocked about this,
It's not that it's that okay, if that like meant something, if it had a purpose at
That's
all,
my
I'd be
what is
totally
evil
down.
out gonna mean outside of making her feel good? Who cares?
If he okay, so like the bathtub scene that everyone has been talking about forever.
Not only the third grossest scene in the movie, by the way.
Weird as
That's the one
shit.
that got the traction, but that's the third grossest movie.
It's very weird, but no one is watching him do that. Like, he just does that. You were going to murder this man for his money. You don't need to do that. Like, this is not advance the murder plot at all. Like, why are you doing that?
First of
Why
all,
did you do that?
I'm shutting shit down. Royden, you may be the only one that may slide out of this. The only one. How long have you been married? I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, a
Every
while.
single one of you motherfuckers, all of you listening, 50% of you on this show have tweeted that you would drink someone's bathwater in a way to flirt. And now they did it in a movie, and you guys have a problem with it.
I said that's only the third grossest thing.
Don't exactly.
When I say I would
never
drink
said
Margot
that.
Robbie's bathwater,
It has
I
been
don't
said
then intend to murder her.
this year, and it's January 3rd. Okay, they just realized the thing that you two for sure, the Dex and the Tejas of the world for sure. Royden, I don't know if you said that to your wife. Maybe you should, and maybe you should drink a little bathwater. I don't know.
Jacob Elordi is a hot man, and he drank his bathwater after he came in it. I was fine with that. I was like, okay, whatever floats your boat.
Of course,
Fucking
you were fine with
someone's
this.
grave served no plot purpose whatsoever when he fucked his.
None.
It literally served no plot purpose whatsoever.
Barry,
No.
I think you did a great job. I heard that he improvised that. I don't know if it's true or not. I think you did a great job.
How would you
He did come
improvise
out-
that? Do you think?
List.
That was his real dick. He came out and said, yes, guys, because at the end, he gets the mansion, he gets Saltburn, and so he's dancing in it naked, which the problem I have with Fennel is you could tell that there's a certain scene in every movie that she's ever made where you know that she made this movie specifically to do this scene. And the scene that she really wanted to give us is him dancing to Murder at the Disco or whatever that song is called.
Murder on the
in
Dance
the
Floor.
house naked. That's what she wanted. Which banger song. Song is fire. She wanted to have him dancing naked with his dick flopping around, and she said, "How do I build a movie script around filming this?" It's like triumphant. Like, yes, he's finally in the. But it was I was left feeling like, okay, he got the house, he killed everyone. I kind of guessed that 25 minutes ago. Why do I care that he got the house? Do I feel any type of way that he got this house or not? Do I care that these people died so they can get his house? No, I haven't actually cared about any character in this film, and he never made me care about him. So the moment that's supposed to be triumphant just feels like this is a really weird music video.
You didn't
That's
care
literally
about
how I felt.
everybody in the film?
No.
Monique, who did you care about in the film?
I guess the chick who died early, but like that was like she was out of there immediately.
All right.
She did that one.
Go ahead, Royden.
I'm gonna reel us back in. So Tej gave this half a star on Letterboxd. Dex
Too
gave it
generous, to
2
be
stars on Letterboxd. But I just want to read some of the Letterboxd reviews because they're the funniest things that I've ever heard. From Zoe Rose Bryant, which is the top review on this movie, and it says a movie about how Jacob Elordi is simply so fucking hot that his mere existence is enough to make someone legally insane. This is a
He is
good one.
Very good looking man.
This
Very
one's a
good-looking
good one too. Sometimes you just have to bottom your way to the top.
man. Oh, that's really good. That's extremely good.
And this says, does for bathtubs what Call Me By Your Name did for peaches. Oh, also, I swear that freak gained new powers every time he consumed the bodily fluids of his family.
I think that's intentionally in the script, though. Like, because when after he does the bathtub scene, that's when he comes out to see the sister, and he's got a new swag. He's basically like, and I think that's literally in the script. I don't think that's like a subtext. I think that's honestly.
Well, you
happening.
can
Every time
tell
he does one of these sex
everybody,
acts- Yeah,
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
That's in the script. That's canon.
He's like
every time he does one of these.
he's a
gross-ass
vampire
acts,
in that
he gets
way?
more power. Yeah, he's a vampire.
Okay.
He does
It's
say
a-
that. I'm a
that's-
vampire in that way.
If they should have just come out, it was just that he was a vampire. That would have made this like, right?
That
Also
moves
has
it up to at least 3 stars for me.
He also fucked the black man and to like control him, which was
No,
I
he
just-
didn't.
why did he fuck the black man, Monique?
He didn't fuck the black man.
He
What did he
molested
do?
the black man.
He just jacked him off.
Is that what was happening in that scene?
Yes.
Okay, I got a different read of that scene. I thought they were. I thought
Put his
I
hand
thought it
in
was
the air.
penetration.
No.
Okay,
No,
we
okay.
are cool. Great movie, guys. Well done. Saltburn on Amazon. Watch it or don't.
Don't.
Watch.
So
We cannot transition to Color Purple after Saltburn, so we should probably go Maestro.
We'll go Maestro. Speaking of men with a control complex.
Speaking of bisexuals.
Speaking of bisexuals.
Speaking
and
of bisexuals.
Speaking of sickos in love. It's true. It's very true. Excellent segue.
Maestro is Bradley Cooper's attempt to really win that fucking Oscar.
To right the wrongs of 2018 in the Academy, which they will never be forgiven for.
Especially not by him, because him losing to Rami Malek has driven that man clinically insane. He might do his own Saltburn.
It should have. It's disgusting that they gave Rami Malek any award, let alone over our son Bradley Cooper. It was
think about how much better the world would be if Rami Malek had never won that Oscar. We would have the greatest James Bond movie of all time. Would have happened because Rami Malek wouldn't have been in it, and that movie fucking rules.
Yeah, it's true. 2 hours, 2 hours and 9 minutes. It's on Netflix. Came out. Netflix dropped 5 movies all in the span of a week too. That was the other thing. A ton of movies came out in theaters, but they also dropped a bunch of stuff that they are also trying to contend for Oscars. We reviewed Leave the World Behind and May December earlier. But Maestro, the love story, chronicles the lifelong relationship of conductor-composer Leonard Bernstein. Stein?
Sure.
Okay. Leonard Bernstein, I think. Leonard Bernstein and actress Felicia. Oh God, Montealegra. Montealegra, Cohn, Bernstein. Absolutely. And people have had varying responses to this movie. 6.8 on IMDb, 77 Metascore.
People are idiots.
It is me, idiot. Stars Carey Mulligan, Bradley Cooper, Matt Bomer,
Sarah Silverman.
Sarah Silverman makes an appearance. And so Bradley Cooper wrote and directed this movie. He has a co-writing credit, with, I want to give them their credit as well.
There are black people in this film as well. There
Josh
are not
Singer.
many, but there is a couple black people in this film. I did take note that a couple of the scenes did feature black people somewhere in the mix.
You have to go far.
Rami Malek would never.
You have to go far down the IMDb.
To see a black person, yes. Very far.
I didn't like the way black people were used in Poor Things, nor did I like the way they were presented in Maestro either. Now that you're saying that. Thank you. I need to get that out.
Or Saltburn, but
all right. That's also,
fair, I don't like the way anyone was presented in Saltburn, other than Rosamund Pike. Put her in more stuff, by the way. She's incredible.
She's so good. Get her in theaters. I'm tired of her on these streaming. Get her in theaters. I want to see her on the big screen.
She's great. Put her in everything.
$80 million budget, worldwide gross of $354,000 because Netflix is a shell company.
Yeah, that's fake money. They're laundering.
Yeah. Anyway, you seem to really, both Dex and Tej seem to really love this movie. Tej, why don't you go ahead? What did you think?
Guys, Bradley Cooper might be our next great American director. I agree with. Everything. He has an eye. He has a flair for the dramatic. He is so intentional with his decision-making. I'm blown away by I like his performance in the movie. I think it's fine. He's not going to win the Oscar. That's fine. But I was way more blown away by his directorial decisions than I was his actual performance. And I just love. God, how did I just drop her name? What's the main character? The actress?
Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan, mind-blowing performance. It was acting him off the damn screen. I think people should realize and people should respect the fact that although you want to see a Leonard Bernstein movie, which I do too, I love West Side Story just like the next red-blooded American straight male. I love West Side Story. This is not a movie about Leonard Bernstein, or at least not fully. It's about their love story. And a lot of the people I respect in the criticism space of film have said it would have been really cool to see a Leonard Bernstein movie. And it's yeah, that would be cool. I would watch that. But this is not what this movie was meant to be. This movie is specifically about this love interest. Now, I will agree with people, and maybe Royden felt this way. I will agree with some people that it does feel like there's two separate tracks of this movie. There is the Leonard Bernstein career track, and then there's the love story track. And they don't really do a good job of showing how these things happening in his personal life with his love story are affecting his career. The two tracks of this movie don't really ever cross. But I was just so enthralled by the way they told the love story, by the way they kind of spoon feed you into actually what's happening. Because I know Leonard Bernstein's famous for being a composer and doing musicals, but I don't know anything about his personal life. I didn't know about his preferences. I didn't know about any of this stuff. So somebody coming into the movie blind like that, like me, I knew this was a love story, and I could feel there was tension early on in their relationship. But the way that they spoon feed it to me is just so smart. I think the film is very well written. It looks great. Like I said, Bradley Cooper's got an eye on the directorial side. That the opening scene where he realizes that he's going to play in the symphony for the first time, and he opens up into the theater. I just think that is so triumphant in the way that they're using sound, the way that they're using the light. That is stuff that looks like somebody who's directed 10 movies, 15 movies. I was just really, really blown away by it. I just loved what Bradley Cooper saw for this film. Not to mention the fact that he's also got to act as the main character of this film. I was blown away by Maestro. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I could not have liked it any more based on what the story they were trying to tell. I just absolutely loved it. I was blown away by it. Bradley Cooper is him. Please give him all the money to make whatever the fuck he wants.
Leonard Bernstein, by the way, not Berenstein Bears is what we've been saying. But yeah, Leonard Bernstein. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't love this movie, but I did like it a lot. Like Teej, I think Bradley Cooper is one of the best directors we got working right now. Like, this man has the best eye we've seen for like musical performance in movies in a long time. Like, you know, A Star Is Born, I was like, anyone could make Lady Gaga look like a pop star on screen. Like, she's a pop star. That's literally what she's here for. But like him directing like classical music like being conducted and things like that, it just looks so fucking good, and few people are doing that. People who are doing it, like Todd Field, have been directing movies for a decade.
Well,
And
that's
this
unfair to Todd Field, who took like 10 years to make his next movie between
Yeah,
stars.
yeah.
He made one movie, won a couple of Oscars, and fucked off for like 2 decades. So, like,
Yeah. But Bradley Cooper literally directing his second movie ever. It's like,
Right.
This is crazy. Going 2 for 2 like this is crazy. His performance is good to me. It's, you know, I think on the level of at least of other Oscar winners. It's better than what Rami Malek won for, but so is most things.
When I woke up out of bed this morning, looked in the mirror, that was a better performance than what Rami Malek has ever given anything.
I still can't believe they gave him an Oscar for that. They gave him an Oscar for playing a singer in a biopic, and he didn't even fucking sing. I just what are we doing? But yeah, I thought his performance was good. I like Cillian Murphy's performance a little better, but you know, if they give Bradley Cooper the Oscar, that's justice, and I'll take that. But yeah, Carey Mulligan still to show here. The only thing I knew about this movie before watching it was that Bradley Cooper directed it and was starring in it, and it was getting Oscar hype. So I just assumed he was the main character of the movie. I didn't know that they were like the poster like bills Carey Mulligan first, and it like looks like Carey Mulligan is the lead actress of this movie because she is. So watching that kind of develop in front of my face, I was like, "Oh shit, this is amazing." So you know, if she won the Oscar, that would be fine. I would give it to Emma Stone, but
a stacked year in that category,
incredibly stacked. There's going to be like
Christ.
8 people who are going to be upset that they weren't nominated for the Oscar, and they'll have legitimate beef.
A bloodletting for Best Actress race. Holy shit.
Yeah,
yeah. But I enjoyed this one. I didn't love it. It's just a little slow. It's a little meandering, I think. But there are moments in it that, like T said, like just take your breath away. Like they're just so fucking good looking, and you don't see things in movies like that anymore. So
I will say before we go to Mo, I mean the conducting scene. The conducting scene in the church is like will take your breath away. I wish I would have seen it in like Dolby or something like that, because just sitting at home, like I don't have like speakers or anything, so I was just kind of like, cool. But but I know it's like it would have taken my breath away in the theater. Mo, go ahead. Like we only have a few minutes left with you because when we got to review another movie. But go ahead.
No, I love the meandering Dex. I love a good movie that I can go into. It was giving me Nightmare Alley, probably because Bradley is also in that. But it was just giving me the feel of like, all right, I don't know much about this. Do I actually care about a circus? Do I actually care about this conductor? No, but I've watched, and not that I don't care about the conductor's art, just like his life, like how much are we going to go into his life and all this. And I think, as soon as I got really deep into the film, I was like, oh my gosh, this is Tar. And I think Tar really informed my experience with this film because
Same.
Tar is like the best movie ever.
Yeah, agreed.
True.
It's just so good. So to your point, Royden, like the moment where he's acting like Bradley Cooper, apparently I was watching it on Instagram. He said that he was very nervous about it and he was very concerned about that part of the movie because it was shot like live and in, like whatever, one take, I think, whatever you call it. Shout out to One Take Pod. And that was really affirming to me because I didn't love it. But the only reason I didn't love it is because I saw Cate Blanchett do what she did last year.
Yeah, that's tough timing.
Look, it's unfair because it's like it is and isn't a different story. A lot of Bernstein can like informs what Tar is.
Yeah, you can see that.
Exactly.
But he's playing a real person. Tar's not a real person, but at the same time, and everybody's made this joke, and Bradley Cooper has come out and been like really like, oh no, I love Tar, but at the same time, he had to been like, God fucking damn it, he was trying to get this movie made for 10 years.
Oh my God,
Cate Blanchett do that? He had to be like, fuck me, man. How am I gonna follow that up? Cate Blanchett's just like, no, you can't follow that.
It's got to be like when they made Ant and A Bug Life at the same time, and they were like, "Fuck!"
We should have a show on that, you guys. Like when similar movies come out like back to back years. But anyway, so I think this is a movie about a conductor that I really, have never been like, wow, I really want to know more about his life, right? And they just made it so good. Like Carey Mulligan just bodies everything. The guy from freaking not Suits, not Burn Notice. Give me the right USA Network. His initial.
God, it was Matt Bomer, but I don't forget what he was in.
It's not Psych. What is it? You know it.
All those USA. I didn't watch any of those USA shows. Monique watched all of those.
That was my back. Why? Not Suits. It's the other one.
Anyway, one?
The what?
Was it the Chicago Fire? I don't even know if that's USA.
No. Anyways, I really liked it because in the beginning of the movie, again, like you have to get me committed to like this story of this man and why this woman gives up her life for it, right? Another movie about a woman giving her life up for a man. Me, from my perspective, I'm like, all right, let's see how you do it. And in every single moment, some of the White Collar. Thank you. Yes, I loved White Collar. Every single scene was perfectly directed. And I do mean perfect. I had no notes. I was enthralled the entire time by the camera shots, the angles, the lighting, the music, the cues, the transitions. I was just...
The transitions were crazy.
It felt like a Michael Bay film. How well, it was just so fun. It was like we were everywhere. But it's not a Michael Bay film, obviously.
I'm
right?
sure Cooper would love that comparison. Too.
I know, right?
He's been trying to win this goddamn Oscar for what it was like. Look,
you call him Michael Bay.
Michael Bay of conducting.
But how we're getting drone shots. We're going around. We're everywhere. It's chaotic. But he took a Michael Bay feeling and encapsulated it in a very romantic, extremely beautifully directed movie. I was in the entire time. I honestly really couldn't tell you what happened, to be honest with you. I actually don't know what happened in that movie. I think
beautiful gowns.
It was just, it's like, hey, I guess, he's pretty good at what he does. okay. But it was just so beautiful. I mean, I had the best time. I was like, "Oh my god, look, another transition. Oh, we're dancing into this, and oh, West Side's into this, and oh, he's having sex with another one of his. Okay, great, like, this is fun."
We're doing cocaine, baby. Let's go.
And we're just, it was really, really beautiful to make such a tragic, like discomforting, romantic, like lost story so fun is really cool. Shout out to Bradley Cooper for that. Really,
Some of those transitions, I didn't even know how they filmed them. I was like, how did they cut it in a way that we transition in the way?
Okay, that's
It was like
editing,
4 or
man.
5 of them in the way that it's edited.
Pay
It's mind blowing.
your editors. Pay these editors, man.
Also,
Um,
if you want a Best Actress nomination, you need to be in whatever Bradley Cooper is doing. Like, just sign
He's
off.
good at it.
Facts.
He's good at it. I think it was an interesting choice to center her in this biopic of Leonard Bernstein. Obviously, he wanted to tell that version of the story, and I think this was a version of the story that like Spielberg and Scorsese have wanted to tell for forever. And
Yeah.
Spielberg apparently saw like dailies or was on set for A Star Is Born and was like,
Yep.
"This kid's got it." You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's an old Coach story or something like that. But like it, I thought it was like Dex said, beautiful gowns, or it's like Tenet. You just have to feel it. You know what I mean? But I found myself swept up in the beauty of it and not so much in the substance of it. And obviously, you wanted to tell that love story, and I think it mostly succeeded at doing that. Carey Mulligan gets moments and gets to get her bars off, especially up in the close up in the lunch scene that she has with Bernstein's sister, Sarah Silverman, in this. And then her, spoiler alert, I mean, for a woman that passed away in the 70s, but like her death scene is like kind of, I mean, not kind of, it is devastating.
Yeah, it really
And,
is.
It's one of the more devastating, like,
Yeah,
portrayals of cancer and like falling apart that
they
you'll
did
see
a
in a long time.
beautiful job. Yeah,
It to me, Dex, I know you kind of went back on me when I said this in the group chat, but it really does ask that you probably know a lot about Bernstein before you go in. And it's like, because it doesn't, like Tej was saying, it doesn't quite inform you enough about his career. And then again, you look at it and it's not quite a standard biopic in that way. And I kind of found myself wanting that. And that's just on me. That has nothing to do with what they chose to make. My personal preference is that I didn't know much about this man. I still don't know much about this man other than he was gay or bisexual and conducted music. And that's it.
A lot of people have said what you said, which is like, this is really cool. I wish that this same director just made a straight like biopic, and that could have been one of the storylines. But I want to know more about this career. I want to see fucking West Side Story.
Right, and I think a lot of people do, and a lot of olds that are watching this are definitely like, show me West Side Story. But
I get it.
I'm very young, very free, very beautiful. And I just think this version of the movie was great.
I agree.
I disagree that we needed more of the of his life. I don't know.
There's 900 movies about great men. I like the fact that we took this from this angle.
I've never heard any of you talk about Leonard Bernstein and how curious you were about his life. Never heard any of you.
And
say
you
that.
won't, because I don't care. I'm good.
I'm saying. So I'm like, make me care by showing me the disgusting.
In fairness, when we get on this podcast and talk about the Eternals, I'm not saying like this could have used a score from Bernstein, to be completely honest with you. But
okay, let's do Color Purple real fast.
Real quick. I will say Bradley Cooper is good, but he is doing the most acting of anyone that is going to get nominated for an award this year. It is most. He's doing the most acting, and that's fine. But he's doing the most.
I absolutely agree, Royden.
Including in the award circuit. Neither here nor there. The Color Purple. I saw this movie today. Oh my god. I was a fucking wreck at the
Let's start with you, Royden. I want to
start with you.
It's fresh on your memory.
Yeah, The Color Purple, PG-13, 2 hours, 21 minutes. A woman faces The Color Purple, but a woman faces many hardships in her life, but ultimately finds extraordinary strength and hope in unbreakable bonds of sisterhood. 7.8 on IMDb, 73 Metascore, stars Fantasia Barrino. Taraji P. Henson still got it. Danielle Brooks, reprising her Broadway role as Sophia. Coleman Domingo playing just the fucking worst. Corey Hawkins, who continues to have an incredible career. Halle Bailey and Felicia Pearl. Help me out here. Masai, I think, as a young Celie. Also, Ciara is in this as well. Directed by
and her is in this. Looking
her is in this?
incredible, if I do say
Yeah,
so.
she
Yes,
is.
she's Harpo's second, I guess, girlfriend. They don't really get married, I don't think, but she's the second girlfriend that Harpo has after him and Daniel Brooks break up.
I think it is directed by Blitz Bazawule. It is written by
his first feature film,
Marcus Gardley, and based on the Alice Walker novel. And this is based on the Broadway play from Marcia Norman, who wrote it for Broadway. I will start by saying, holy shit, how do you take The Color Purple, that source material, and be like, I'm going to make this a musical?
Genius.
Great.
This seems like
Really
great to add song and dance to. You know what I mean? This movie made some decent money at the box office. $100 million budget, really expensive. Made like $50 million worldwide. Just came out last week over Christmas. My thoughts. I saw this. I've actually never seen the original Color Purple. It was too heady of, or not heady, but too hard of a source material when I was young that my parents actually just never showed it to me.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then when I was a teenager, I took my mom to go see the musical actually in Houston. And in that I left in, it's very rarely that, you know, that you're affected by like musicals or anything like that. But like sometimes when it's live and it's there, it gets you. I left that musical being like, and just like, and I didn't think that this would have the same effect on me, but at the end of that movie, goddamn, if I was not like just people behind me, women behind me were sobbing at like 12 or at 12 in the afternoon. They were just like a mess. I don't know. I thought this was a beautiful reimagining of bringing that to life. Obviously it's not, it doesn't, I imagine, because I haven't seen it, you'd have to inform me on this, but I imagine it doesn't hit like emotionally hit like the depths of how mean and sad the original Color Purple can be.
Yeah, they sand some of the edges.
Yeah.
You find out that her dad has raped her within literally the first 5 minutes of the 1985 version of the film. It's literally in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like, it's like, boom, welcome to Color Purple. She's been raped. And it's like, oh, shit. Like, we are in for a journey. It is.
I mean, it still felt that way in this one to me.
Well, you have to, I will say, you have to kind of be.
It's
you
still
have
what
to.
you think, Alex?
It still felt that way.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's still very heavy film, obviously.
It's still a heavy film, but you obviously have to be. You have to kind of be really paying attention to the interplay between her and her, I guess, stepfather. No spoilers for, you know, the Color Purple, but like her and her stepfather there. But to kind of understand what was happening, it kind of felt like they sanded it down a little bit more.
They definitely did.
Than that. So I thought the performances were pitch perfect. I thought Fantasia was incredible, but I thought the woman that played Sophia was probably stole the
Brooks,
movie.
Bro, she steals it. She literally steals the movie.
I think she steals the movie for me. Corey Hawkins continues to pick really good projects. I'll say that about him. He's really good. And Coleman
You're
Domingo,
saying in your movie, Corey Hawkins will be there.
Yeah.
With his cute little smile. He's such a cute little smile.
And Coleman Domingo, wow, man. Really, really good.
Misses, man.
Yeah, he's an incredible actor. And I will say this, the final stanza when she meets her family and they sing The Color Purple and all that, and I was
a mess.
I was a fucking wreck, dude. I do think my one problem with it, and this is kind of just the source material, and this is actually how the stage play goes. It's bad. All right, some good things happen to her here at the very end of the movie. And you're just like, the third act really feels rushed into getting her on the right path. And that's just kind of the source material. That's kind of how it works out. but it does feel at the very end it's like, and then they were redeemed, and you're just kind of like, okay, good. What else though? This person was really bad to her for the entire movie. Anyway, that I was a wreck. Go see this with your family, and you'll have it. And I also, again, Taraji P. Henson, just
Still.
kick me in the face.
Monique, let's get you to give us your Color Purple review and then your top 5 movies, and then we'll finish the Color Purple when you leave.
Yes. So my relationship with this film is very, very deep. With the story, I should say, first versus the film. I watched it first with my grandma when I was a very, very, very young girl, and I was like, "What the fuck am I watching? This is terrible. Why would you ever let me see this?" So that was my first, interaction. Then I watched it again because I was going to go watch it on Broadway. So I've seen Fantasia perform this on Broadway, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. It was life changing. And then I watched the movie right before that too, and as an older woman, I wasn't that old, but I was probably like in my late teens. A little bit more life had happened, so I'm like, okay, I understand this. I understand why this tragedy and this story is so powerful. And then we come to 2023, and we have Fantasia again. We have Taraji P. Henson, we have Halle Bailey, we have Sierra randomly, and we have Danielle Brooks, who for me is who made this movie. I mean, it's between her and Coleman Domingo, but really Danielle Brooks, I've also watched her on Broadway. Actually, no, it wasn't. It just technically wasn't Broadway, but they did The Piano Lesson with Samuel L. Jackson and John David Washington. And Danielle Brooks can do anything. The woman that played Sophia, she can do literally anything on this planet. The reason why those women behind you were crying, Royden, is because of Danielle Brooks. Like, her performance was so damn good, and it was so important. And when you think of The Color Purple, you don't always talk about Sophia first. She's probably like 3rd or 4th on the list, but I'm going to talk about Sophia in this movie because from a musical standpoint, from a range standpoint, happiness, sadness, comedy, revenge, just physical dancing and freeing yourself. And just from a cultural perspective as a Black woman, and a Black Latina, but a Black woman in America, like, the way this story was told was so genius. It was so genius. It was a perfectly produced film. Shout out to Oprah, because it's hard to do. It's hard to retell this story and still make it fun. Still make it to where we can have a conversation like this. Like, this is we'd never talk about this. We never talk like this about the 1985 version.
No, we would not.
Story like this. And so it's just a stroke of genius to me to make this a musical. And we all know how hard it is. Like, if I ask you your top 10 movies, you're not going to say a musical, because musicals are hard to commit to as well.
Nobody say a musical.
No,
I
you
love
won't.
musicals.
No, you won't. You only said a musical. No, you won't.
You know how many times I've seen the original West Side Story? Like, literally.
That's not your top 10 movie. You wouldn't say it. You're saying that now because I'm saying it. You wouldn't say that was your top 10 movie. But anyways,
be close.
I'm not saying I don't love musicals. I'm just saying musicals are hard. If they were easy, we'd have way more of them. If people sat down in seats and watched them, we'd see way more of them. So it was just really exciting. The wardrobe, chef's kiss, reminded me of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which also had Coleman Domingo. So shout out to wardrobe, shout out to Taraji P. Henson, and really, really especially Danielle Brooks. This is going from Orange is the New Black to amazing plays, in New York and in theaters, and then just bodying this role from every aspect. Like, there's so much asked of.
Don't forget Peacemaker now. That's real cinema. She was in Peacemaker. Great.
We're talking in actors. Usually when you watch an actor, and I'll wrap it up. Usually when you watch an actor, it's like either you're good in TV or you're good in film. Like, it's two very different things that demands of actors, these mediums. And Danielle got it all. Fantasia, to your point, Royden, about like the Act 3 being, this like, I guess some good things happened to her. I think that's also a cultural perspective where like a lot of Black Americans found, respite in like community in the church and in religion. And so there really isn't a good plot line or like, a direction for like revenge or like paying for your sins. You just kind of like look up to God, you ask for forgiveness, and then everyone around you kind of needs to like also forgive you. So it was actually very reflective of what the culture kind of, especially in that era, like ass of people. So I think it was cool to let Fantasia just have her moment where she sings her fucking ass off and gives us the performance of a lifetime in theaters. And as she should, because she's amazing in every way. Shout out to her. I think she could be on her way to an EGOT at some point, maybe. Who knows? But that's how I feel.
I'm shocked that Cynthia Erivo didn't reprise any role. I mean, she was the original, I think, or in the Broadway revival. She wanted a Tony for playing.
Who did she play?
I think she played
Not Sophia. Was it so? No, it was.
No, I think she played Celie. Actually, she was the first. She was a Celie in the Broadway revival and won a Tony for it. But
black people don't fuck with Cynthia Erivo after those unfortunate comments. That's probably why they didn't call.
Yeah,
her.
no.
Wait, what comments?
Wait, what?
She I'm not going to go into it, but I think she's African, and she said some disparaging things about African Americans, basically, and that came out, and that it got nasty.
All right, moving on.
This is right when she was playing Harriet Tubman, so it was a very nasty time.
Ooh. Glad I never saw that movie.
Do y'all want to? Moving on. Let's skip that.
Me and Des can talk about The Color Purple after we get Mo's top 5. We gotta leave.
Okay, so real quick, screw you guys for this top 5 shit. I hate you guys. You stress me out for no reason. I don't have. I have a top 35. But help me. I'll make this interactive because I got to go.
Okay.
Help me. Just help me get it down to 5 from 10. I have 10.
Okay.
Help me get it
I
down.
wrote 20, so you're already better than me. I wrote 20.
5? Come on. I watched
5.
I watched 5
We'll give you 2 honorable mentions. We'll give you 7. You take it.
Give me Barbie, Rye
Wait,
Lane.
tell us your honor. No. Oh, you're not gonna put them in order.
I'm gonna give you. Yeah, I'm just giving you your 10. I literally can't. I can't. Just all great. Barbie, Rye Lane, Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, Knock at the Cabin, The Color Purple, Godzilla -1, TMNT, Mutant Mayhem, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Beau is Afraid, and Last Voyage of the Demeter. I don't know if
Last Voyage of the Demeter and Knock at the Cabin can go bye-bye.
I don't know.
I didn't see Rye Lane.
Let's be so serious right now.
I'm okay with Knock at the Cabin going. All right, so now we're down to 9.
I wanted Turtles in my 5. It didn't make it, but Turtles was on my short list. I love Turtles, man. That shit was real.
You have one animated movie with Spider-Verse, which is the better animated
I didn't even put Mario in my man. There's so many good movies.
It is better.
I had a really good time with TMNT, but you're right. It did. Okay, cool. So now we're down. All right, Dex, you get to X one now. Careful what you X.
I didn't see Last Voyage of the Demeter, but
you know which one you want to get rid of.
We already got that out.
All right. I also forgot to say Bottoms, but
I didn't see that either.
That was on my short list too.
I don't know, guys. I think I'm down to like 8 then. I mean, I'm good with what you guys said. I'm keeping Last Voyage of the Demeter. I'm keeping Godzilla -1. I'm keeping
Get Last Voyage of the Demeter out of here. We don't care about vampires.
Vampires on a boat.
You are the only person who saw that movie. I've heard nothing about it.
You didn't watch the movie.
I heard about it when it came out, like that it was coming out, and then no one talked about it.
She loved it.
All of you would eat your words. I am telling you, you would love it. I know 100% you guys.
Dracula don't move me like that.
You guys would. You don't know. You didn't watch the movie. You didn't watch the movie.
Like Godzilla is a champion. That is a real villain. I love Godzilla.
Dracula is in a universe, and there are so many iterations of Dracula that you couldn't even name all of them on this show, even if it was 3 hours. I'm telling you, The Last Voyage of the Demeter was so fucking good. And I think Corey Hawkins is in that too, actually. No, I'm thinking about it.
Yes, yeah.
So if you, I noticed you didn't include Oppenheimer.
You also didn't include Killers of the Flower Moon. You included Dracula and not Killers of the Flower Moon. That's crazy.
I enjoyed both of those films, but what I'm not about to do is let Hollywood keep throwing movies about white men at me. We get it. Y'all are terrible. We get it. Y'all are awful people.
That's fair.
Look, I didn't build the atomic bomb.
Look, I am in love with, is it Cillian Murphy? I am in love with him. It doesn't matter. His name doesn't matter. I'm in love. So that movie was perfect to me, but it's not my top 5. Is it my top 15, sure. Past Lives, top 11, top 12.
Ooh.
Past Lives was so
So
yeah,
good.
guys. It was a good year, man. It was a great
It was a
year.
great year.
It was
Guardians
a
of the
great
Galaxy-
year.
Guardians
and
of
I
the
can't-
Galaxy. It's pretty good,
True.
guys.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
sad.
damn good year.
Incredible, guys.
It was a great year, and I can't wait to have you on 11 more times in 2024 because we need the content because there's going to be like half the movies that come out next year.
I'm gonna watch all of them, and I get to catch up on the movies I didn't see, guys, because I hated making this list because I didn't watch When Evil Lurks, which I heard amazing things about, Expendables, which is my heart and soul 50 Cent in, Joyride. I didn't see The Zone of
Still haven't
Interest.
seen Joyride.
I didn't watch Anatomy of a Fall. I haven't watched Iron Claw. I didn't watch Hunger Games. Like I'm kind of slacking. The Covenant. I love a Guy Ritchie movie. I'm obsessed. I
That's
love
a good
Guy
one.
Ritchie.
I'm
You can't-
halfway through the Covenant. Yeah,
Big hell yeah,
okay.
brother.
It's okay.
Like Society and Origin. I've heard great things. So yeah, like I
Life
have like
Society owns.
there's a lot. So like my list, that's where I'm at with it.
I'm ready
All
for
right.
Anatomy of a Fall and Zone of Interest and the whole
They just
Those are
they
mine. I'm ready
again
for those.
fuck us, right? Because they haven't come out anywhere,
I'm ready for those.
right?
So-
Anatomy of a Fall did come to Katie. I just didn't have time to get to it, but it did. It did come out.
I was traveling too. Okay, but like, do you guys agree with any? Before I go, I need to hear. Like, did I hit any of y'all's Barbie?
You hit some of mine.
Yeah, you did.
I think
You hit a lot on my 20 list, but you left off some of my actual 5. But it was meant.
our
this is why we have these
lists are
conversations.
gonna be dude centric. I can already tell you right now.
You like
I tried so hard to
Oppenheimer.
put Beyonce on my 5. I tried so hard to put Beyonce on my 5. I enjoyed that film that much, but I couldn't do it.
I didn't have it at first. Like I said, I'm okay if that's like number 6. First of all, because I watched it so much later, and it's hard to compare that movie to everything else I've watched.
Yeah, it is.
It's in
so
its own
different.
category. It's not a narrative. It's not a documentary. It's a production, you know. And you guys, I know you guys didn't watch this movie because this was a private advanced screening. But
Oh,
here,
Damn, she flexed on us crazy.
no.
That is
It's on.
insane.
No, I mean it's on Hulu, but like not. It didn't get enough buzz. But I got to watch it with Tierra Whack. Speaking of Beyonce and Tierra Whack, I really encourage you guys to watch it. It's like think if Missing was like even more intense and more funny, or Searching.
movie is this?
Whatever.
What's the movie?
The movie is called Fame is Whack by Tierra Whack. It's like her directorial debut. She fucking kills it so much. You've never seen a movie like this. It's not a documentary, but it is, but it's not, but it is. And that's all I'm going to say. It's very
all right.
Huh?
Fame is whack. All
Fame
right.
is Whack, like her last name. Yep.
Cool. All right, Mo,
Thank
tell
you,
us
Monique. We
where.
appreciate you.
Real quick, give yourself a plug.
Thank you. It's Miss Peacherino with What We Watch. Tap in at whatwewatch.net. Follow me on Instagram and X. Follow me on your X at MS Peacherino and What We Watch Film TV, www Film TV. Thank you, One Take Pod. Always enjoy talking film with you guys. I love being here. Shout out to 2024. Are we gonna do an Oscar?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you'll
do
be there.
We'll
Oh,
do the Oscar shit.
are we doing Oscars? We're gonna grind so much film. I can't fucking wait.
I
need it.
cannot
In them
wait.
trenches, baby.
We should honestly do a live watch party of the best actress because that's gonna go crazy.
That's gonna
Right.
be insane.
All right, bye. Thank you guys.
All
Bye.
right, thanks, Mo. All right, so guys, y'all will give your Color Purple reviews. And by the way, I should mention we were talking about the Oscars thing right there. We were giving these the rundown review, like the flyby and in Top
Yeah.
Gun reviews, because we're gonna talk about these movies. A lot of these movies, a lot more as Oscar
A lot of them,
season.
not all of them, but a lot
Not
of them
all, yeah.
are going to be Oscar movies. So we'll dig.
I hope to
further
never have
into
to
them.
talk about Saltburn in the Oscars conversation, but
That will not happen.
Shit, you might. If they keep doing it.
Ugh.
All right, I'm going to start putting us on a timer. So I'm going to say 5 minutes for both of us to do our Color Purple reviews, and then I'm going to do 10 minutes for all the 4 remaining movies. How about that?
Bet.
Yeah, do
Okay.
it.
I'm starting 5 minutes now. Do you want to go first or me, Dex, for Color Purple?
Honestly, I can go first. I don't even think I'll need 5 minutes.
No, you only have 2.5 minutes. This is for both of us to split.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I really like this movie. Obviously, first part of it really tough to watch, but even despite that, like Fantasia gives like one of the most arresting performances I've seen in a movie in a long time. It's like you just can't stop looking at her and like feeling whatever she wants you to feel, you feel it like the entire movie. And I think that's like the mark of a good actress and of a good singer. When she is both. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Like Royden said, like by the end of it, you're just a mess. It's just like just so emotional, so heavy, and then you get to the ending and you're like I can't believe like that. Like it just gets you, man. And if you haven't seen this movie, you should go check it out in the movie theater. It rules. I got to see it at a screening, so it was packed. A lot of people really excited. People all dressed up in there in purple and like the dresses and all that stuff. And it was just a fun environment to be in. I don't know if you can still see it in that environment now that the new year has passed and all that, but yeah, it just added to it a ton for me. So
Yeah, try
I
going
love
on a
it.
weekend.
Yeah, that's smart. I also saw it in a packed theater. I have actually never seen the musical, and I actually didn't realize that this music. I knew this was a musical, but I didn't realize this was an adaptation of the Broadway musical, which I should have realized, but I did not realize that when I walked to the movie. But I have seen the 1985 version a couple times, and also my stepmom is literally obsessed with the 1985 version of this film, so I can quote it pretty much front to back in terms of how the lines are delivered. And the 1985 version has a lot of lines that are very serious, but because of the delivery, people make jokes about. And I
Mhm.
thought they made an intentional effort to really get the tones right this time and not really mix their tones. That's why I agree with Mo that the Danielle Brooks performance is so arresting. It's so perfect because she's got to do comedy. She's got to be angry. She's got to get revenge. She's got to do so many different things in a performance where she's not always center of screen. I also thought that the Fantasia performance is great. I think the Fantasia performance is so this is a typical musical trait or trope, but her performance is so understated. Even in her performances, she's not really singing a lot, but then she gets a solo number towards the end of the film that brings the house down. It fucking crushes, it is crushing. I was a mess. I was crying when Danielle Brooks has the moment where Celie says that she's gonna move to Memphis, and so Dana Brooks starts to say, "Well, I just want to thank you, Miss Celie." I'm crying already, and then she breaks that out by having an extremely hilarious moment, like 3 minutes later, in the midst of a very serious interaction between Mister and Celie. That's basically the first time Celie asserts herself against this guy who's basically been her captor. Dana Brooks has to be funny right after she just made me cry 3 minutes ago, and she just nails it. She's just perfect. Obviously, I like when the family gets together and Ciara comes out. She's just so mind blowing. I don't think that anybody has given props yet to what Haley Bailey did, but I had never seen her in a movie before because I didn't watch The Little Mermaid. So
No one did.
I was very impressed by like
I did.
what she did because I had never seen her before. So I was very impressed by what she was able to do. I think this is a very strong adaptation of this movie. I really enjoyed it. I saw it in a packed theater. My theater was also a mess. I was also a mess. Very emotional, but very funny. The only knock I would really have is that the musical numbers are not great. Like I don't love any of the
Yeah, they're
musical
not.
numbers until I get to that Fantasia one at the very end where she's saying, "I've arrived. I'm here." That one blew me away. That one just like took my breath away in terms of how understated she was, and she finally basically she literally like comes out of her shell. Like I just loved it. This is an incredible film. I'm glad it's been successful. It's well casted. Her is not only great in the movie, but she's also just extremely gorgeous, like mind-blowingly gorgeous in this film. It's just well casted. It's a great time. Take your family. It's a very emotional film, but it'll be worth it. And God bless Oprah and everybody involved with this film. Coleman Domingo is just great. That following up behind Danny Glover and what Danny Glover does in that 1985 movie, and I think Danny Glover steals the 1985 movie. So to play that role is just not an easy thing to do, and I just think that Coleman Domingo was the perfect casting choice because that guy can do whatever the fuck you tell him to do. He has every tool in the toolbox. He uses it. He's great. Go see Color Purple. It's great.
My favorite thing, real quick, my favorite thing about these movies is that they find white people who are just the fucking worst.
Yep.
Oh, it's inevitable that they would just find some fuck that's just like, ew, dude. Like, yeah. Anyway, it always happens. But
all right, I'm putting 15 minutes up for whatever the next movie is.
The Iron Claw.
Tell us where to go. We can go to the Iron Claw.
And I'm going to do this review. I'm going to do my review really quickly, and then I got to go give a birthday present to my wife. So I will let y'all do y'all's reviews here in like 2 seconds. But the Iron Claw, it's jewelry. It's nothing derogatory. I'm not stepping away. Anyway, the Iron Claw
We didn't think that.
is rated R.
Not at all until you said it.
I know.
No.
Just making a joke. The Iron Claw, 2 hours, 12 minutes, rated R. The true story of the Von Erich brothers who made history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. Written and directed by Sean Durkin. 8.1 on IMDb, 73 Metascore. This is an A24 film. Stars Zac Efron. All your favorite short kings. Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson, who's not a short king, Maura Tierney, Holt McCallany, and then another person who I'm trying to remember who plays the other brother in here as well, but a host of character actors that you've known and seen. Also Lily James in here.
Lily James is, yeah.
This did pretty good business for its budget, $15 million budget, $18 million at the box office. And I think in a slightly limited release, they're opening it in more theaters. Also, I don't know why A24 tried to put this movie about generational sadness and trauma up against all these other movies at Christmas, but that's neither here nor there. This movie should have been out in August. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. This movie is brilliant to look at. It is well acted. The story moves around at a breakneck pace, I feel like. It really does try to dive into how toxic masculinity and generational trauma really affect men, and it frames it through the lens of the Von Erich curse, who we're not huge. I mean, y'all love wrestling more than me, but like, I didn't even know this story. And a lot of people do know this story. A lot of people in Texas know this story. And it's like Texas legend at this point almost. It's bigger than life, I think. And I was blown away by the Efron performance. I think this is the best performance of Efron's career, bar none.
It's great.
I think towards the end of the movie, I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, but he delivers some of the most heartbreaking lines that I think that have been delivered in a movie. I was a mess at the end of the movie too, of this movie as well. The character of Fritz Von Erich, I had a problem with because it felt like he was delivering exposition and was in kayfabe the entire time in the movie. Like, I know kayfabe is acting, but it felt like he was in kayfabe as an actor in playing a wrestler. It's hard to describe, but I don't know. I really enjoyed how straightforward this movie was. Until the very end, they take some liberties with after the characters die. We don't remember in that scene either, but I love how straightforward it was. I thought the action in it was some of the best like wrestling stuff that I think I've ever seen. Somebody described it feels akin to like a boxing movie.
Yeah.
And I really agree with that. And it's staged well, it's performed well. My only problem is that it doesn't dig too deep down onto those messages that I was talking about, other than to say, damn, that was crazy and sad. And
yeah,
that's what it feels like.
Basically.
So go ahead.
All right, Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with most of what Warden just said. The Zac Efron performance was awesome. He's really fucking good. I didn't know he had this in him. So shout out to him for that. But the rest of the movie around him kind of lets him down. Like, this movie could have been great and one of those like that I would go back to all the time, and like one of my favorite biopics kind of thing. But everything else about the movie is just either formulaic or kind of useless, honestly. Like the dad character in this movie is just so fucking bad. Like, I said in the group chat, it feels like he's like a narrator character in like a sports mode career, like a sports game career mode, where it's like he's like guiding you like through your NBA 2K story. Everything he says is like, oh wow, like this team wants to draft you. Like these other scouts don't believe in you. What are you gonna do? It's like, I don't like, you suck. Like, get him out of here. Like, write this character better. I think the that framing the story around Zac Efron's character kind of just makes it where you're just watching sad shit happen to him instead of them like telling you a story. It's just like they're telling you a story, but not like telling you a story that has a point. They're just like telling you what happened, which I guess that's a choice you can make.
Yeah.
But I would rather them be like, this is what happened, and like this, you know, inspired thoughts of, you know, I don't know, some thesis on grief or some thesis on ambition or family or love or something. And they just don't do that. They're just like, y'all read this Von Erich shit before? Like, this is crazy. Like, you know, I think if you like center the movie around like the dad or the mom or something like that, like it's probably a different movie. Zac Efron's probably not in it as much, but it's a better movie, probably in my opinion. So I would have liked to see them do that. But there's moments in it that are like truly heartbreaking. Also moments in it that are like kind of awesome, like the wedding scene where they're like just, you know, line dancing and shit. That shit's awesome. The wrestling is awesome. It like the wrestling does a really good job of drawing that line where it's like, ooh, is Zac Efron like is his character actually hurt? Is he not actually hurt? Is it all just wrestling? Is it real? Is it fake? Like it does a really good job of drawing that line, which like good wrestling matches do. So that was really cool to see them capture. But yeah, overall they left a lot of meat on the table. I feel like they could have made this something really poignant and moving and meaningful, and it mostly just comes off of, okay, now I know that the Von Erichs had a really sad story, like, and that's it.
Yeah, it's something I don't know if y'all have talked about. It's something made for a movie or at this point like an extended TV series. They purposely, it's so sad that they purposely leave the death of one brother out of it.
Yeah, they just deleted a death. Like that's how much is happening in this. Like, I don't feel like I could have taken much more, but also I understand why people are upset they deleted the death. But I was like,
I'm like,
man,
no, I think it's a good decision.
I was on the edge. I think that's a good movie decision. I was dying. I was. There's a lot of sadness going on.
Go ahead, because I want to talk about one glaring big problem in the movie. Unless y'all have already talked about it,
and you're gonna get there.
Go ahead.
We all have the problem. I enjoyed this film. Probably a little bit more than Dex did. But I agree with Royden that I left feeling like I loved wrestling as a kid. Like I was obsessed with wrestling as a kid. It was my sport. My first sports love was wrestling. But this was in the 90s, not the 80s, so I didn't know much about this story. I knew it was tragic, but that's about the extent that I knew going in. I was blown away by the Efron performance, not just line delivery and the way that he was able to portray this character, but also the physical transformation of his body and the way that he performs in the wrestling scenes. The wrestling scenes in this movie, I've never seen wrestling scenes done like they did them, and it's so fucking worthwhile to watch these wrestling scenes in this movie. Whoever choreographed that and whoever set that up, that blocking, they fucking crushed it. It looks great. The wrestling looks phenomenal. When you are in a wrestling match in this movie, it is like, fuck yes. I'm already having a good time, but now I get to see another wrestling match. Hell yeah, turn that shit up. Great story. Jason Allen White, is that his name? Jason
Jeremy,
Allen? Yeah.
Jeremy Allen White. The bear.
Phenomenal. Is literally always perfect, especially in very emotional roles. So he just fits right in. I like the brothers. I love the way they casted all the brothers. And I had a pretty good time, but I just feel like to take this movie from a B+ to an A- or an A would have needed to like, what does the filmmaker think that this tragic story means? What is he trying to convey to the viewer about this? Is this a cautionary tale? Is this about masculinity? Is this about bad dad? Is this just a bad dad movie? Like, there's so much that they imply and throw in front of you, but they don't really dig deeper into any of the ideas about why this story happened. So it just feels like you're hearing a story of this very sad shit that's happening to this family, but specifically how it's being processed through Zac Efron's character. And it's just, at some point, I was just like, this rote recitation of the facts, I know that they took liberties, but this rote recitation of the story, it is good, is very entertaining, but also is we could have been God level cinema if we had just a little bit. If I walked out of there thinking that I think the filmmaker thinks that this is why this happened. If I could answer that question, I would have loved this film. The performances are great. It looks great. But, and I know we all have this gripe, they casted the worst possible person to play the most famous person portrayed in this film.
Oh my God.
Insanity.
I have seen better Ric Flair impressions in a bar drunk with white people.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I have heard rappers do better Ric Flair impressions on tracks than whatever the hell actor they got for Ric Flair. He was totally wrong for the part. He did kind of look like Ric Flair, but when he delivered a promo, and they're literally, not only is this promo happening, it's at a very, very, very specific part of the movie where tragic stuff is happening, and we're using this promo to transition to the next part of the movie. So it's very prescient. You're very emotional at the time. And then they give you the worst possible Ric Flair promo that you could ever imagine. In a movie that's so well put together, well casted, and very meticulous in how they present things to you, it is a very glaring omission that 3 minutes of the movie is fucking awful. There's no way around it. That it takes you out of the movie immediately.
It snatches you by the shoulders and is
it
like,
really
hey,
does. It's like,
hey, you're watching a movie. Hey.
This is not just any wrestler. This is Ric fucking Flair. This is one of the most famous wrestlers to ever live. People that have never watched a wrestling match know who Ric Flair is. You can't not get that casting right. You just can't. You just can't make that mistake. You just can't do that.
I think a big problem is in it, like, it's not even the actor's fault. They can't get the Ric Flair wig right.
I don't even need the wig to be right. Get the voice right. Like that's the thing you gotta do.
They could have had a black dude up there. If he hit the promo right, I would have been like, Ric Flair was black, but so what? Fuck it, I was into it.
I was so thrown out of the movie, and I don't think anybody really, like, some people have said this, but no one in my theater was really off put by it. But I was like looking around at like people, like I thought somebody was going to stand. Yeah, I swore somebody was going to stand up and go boo. Like I thought
somebody booed in my theater. Somebody was like, "Boo! That's not Ric Flair." That happened in the middle of my show.
Yeah, it was so glaringly just the worst part of and it just was bad, man. It just was the wrong choice in a nearly, like, the guy, like the director was throwing like 7 shutout innings.
Yep.
And it just was like
all fell apart.
Just bomb. It's just like Albert Pujols in the bottom of the 9th, and you're like, God damn it. But
it was like somebody walked. It was like a skunk walked into the movie theater and completely took me out of the movie. Like, oh my God, it smells like shit in here. Like that's what that felt like happened to me. I could not believe it.
It really did. It smelled like we didn't have enough. It smelled like broken here. It smelled like we didn't have enough money to cast a famous actor.
We just got one of the crew guys and put a wig on him and said, "You're Ric Flair now." Like it was. It is. I will never forget how it's like a Craftsman movie in terms of the way that it's put together physically, the way that it looks. And then this guy comes and does this promo, and there's nobody in the movie theater that's like, yeah, that's Ric Flair. If you've ever heard a Ric Flair promo, which is 98% of America, there's no way that you enjoy that part of the movie. It's a completely baffling decision. Completely baffling.
And honestly, like, Zac Efron might be equally bad, like imitating the person that he's doing. But I've never heard that guy speak. I don't know.
I've never heard that person, so I'm good.
So I've heard Ric Flair my entire life. Like, I know exactly what Ric Flair sounds like, and this is not it. What? Hey man, I guess a $15 million budget, you got to make a cut somewhere. In the Ric Flair,
they made that in the wrong spot.
Where they got it.
Yeah, another thing that, like, this is a nitpick, but it does kind of take you out of the movie when, like, they flash the title card up there and they say Kerry Von Erich 6'2", 222 pounds, and you're just like, all these dudes are supposed to be like Jeremy Allen White character is supposed to be like 6'7". Bro, don't lie to me like that. Come on.
Yeah, just don't put that in the movie. Just don't tell me that. Y'all want to do? I want to run the bathroom real fast. Y'all want to do Wonka, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about Wonka real quick. Why not? Okay, we'll talk about Wonka. That was Iron Claw. I'd be shocked to see if Efron got nominated, but there is a push for him to get some love here. I think it's just too late. Like,
yeah, I think it's not a good enough movie that's popular enough. Like, if they drop this on Netflix or something and then everyone watches it, then maybe. But like, as it is, it's like you're not. All these other movies have like dominated the conversation the entire year. They're not gonna shoehorn Zac Efron in here, I don't think.
Right. No. Speaking of people they won't be putting in awards, right? Although he did get nominated for a Golden Globe. Wonka with Timothy Chalamet. 2023 movie, PG. This is the one that's dominating the box office, by the way. It has made like $400 million worldwide.
Jesus Christ.
Hot Wonka. That's what this movie is. What if Wonka was hot?
Did I just hear you say they made $400 million with this movie worldwide?
Yep.
Holy shit! I did not know that. I had.
What was the budget on this?
It's a lot.
Oh
It's
my
$125 million.
Oh my
Still,
God.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
400 million is nuts. I didn't know it was that popular.
Yeah,
I
I mean-
not even been paying attention to what it's tracking. I did not realize
It came
was
out
doing
at
that
the
well.
exact right time that it should have, right before everything else came out, and it was a family movie leading in to the Christmas holiday. So it was like, instead of just dropping
Kids
it
are out of
right-
school. I guess we
Yeah.
can go watch Wonka.
Exactly. And so then it got, oh, well, this movie's actually good. This movie's actually good. So it got the word of mouth. And then people were like, well, let's just go see that instead of the Aquaman or whatever, the duck movie or whatever. So
Migration.
Migration.
Hey, Aquaman might make more money than the Flash. It
That's
might.
crazy.
Low bar,
might
but-
happen.
Taylor Swift
Um,
made more money than the Flash opening weekend, so it's what it is.
That's good.
But do you know, besides yourself, Dex, do you know anybody else that's gone and seen Aquaman? I haven't seen.
Did
I
you
haven't,
go see Aquaman?
I did. Me and my dad, my little brother went to go see it, and we all were like, "Okay,
Does it stink?
whatever."
Does it stink, or it's just like?
It's not good. It's like it's one of those. It's like you can tell they did not care about this. They were like, "None of this matters anymore. Fuck it."
yeah, exactly. We'll pay it. We'll make it for $200 million, whatever.
Thank
It's not our
God
money.
that the DCU era is over. Now we are in real cinema era of DC. I have high hopes, obviously.
Wonka, real quick, with dreams of opening a shop in a city renowned for its chocolate, a young, poor Willy Wonka discovers that the industry is run by a cartel of greedy chocolatiers. 7.3 on IMDb, 66 Metascore, stars Timothy Chalamet. Let's see.
Olivia Colman also.
Olivia Colman is in this. Tom Davis is in this. Patterson
Richard
Joseph,
Grant.
Matt Lucas, Richard. Keegan Michael Key. Jim Carter. Yeah. So Paul King of our beloved Paddington movies made this movie, made $400 million worldwide. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really
Yeah,
fun.
same.
I thought it was really fun. I'll never sing any of these songs ever. I thought Timothy Chalamet was doing the most. He was like, I get that like people like Chalamet. My whole thing was that he was doing like wild and crazy guy. I'm such a weirdo. I'm weird. You know, like I'm a weird kooky little guy. And that's what I felt like he was embodying the entire time. And I didn't like it. I was like it just off-putting to me at points. Some points it was good and heartfelt from him. So I'm not going to discredit him the entire time. But it feels like a theater kid was like a freshman theater nerd was given the script last minute. And he was like, what if I was eccentric? And you're just like, okay, cool. But all that to say,
does he actually sing? Is he actually singing?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
And
does.
he
Not
doesn't
well,
do it.
but
It's not terrible, but it's not, yeah.
yeah, like I said, he's more Ewan McGregor in Moulin Rouge than he is Russell Crowe in Les Mis, but
Right.
like it's still not good.
All that to say, when they said when they sang "Pure Imagination" at the very end of the movie, I nearly cried. I don't know what that was says about me,
Really?
but yeah, it got me. It was so like
They
orphan-
tease you with it so
Yeah.
much, and then like it finally hits, and you're like, yes. Like,
the one song we all know besides the Oompa Loompa song, but like they tease you with an orphan storyline, not to ruin the movie, but she gets reunited with her mother, and then they sing "Come with Me and You'll Be," and it just like he
Oh,
sings
that's
it
good.
really softly and stuff, and it's
Good.
just it really like hit me at my core of like, oh fuck, like it's like, but that was the best part of the movie for me. It's like a B minus, way better than the whatever the fuck Johnny Depp one was.
That was
I
weird.
still don't think
We
I've
don't
seen that,
acknowledge-
honestly.
We don't
Yeah.
acknowledge the Johnny Depp one. It's great.
Nowhere near as good as the original, but nobody can really top the Gene Wilder performance anyway. Dex, do you have anything to say
How
about
long is this movie?
it? Actually, it's not. It is an hour and 56. Pretty
That's
tight.
Smart. Make it sub 2. That's smart.
Yeah. Every time someone asks me about this movie, I'm like, it was cute. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Like, it's cute. Cute shit happens. Timothy Chalamet does cute little chocolate magic tricks, and he rescues a cute little orphan girl from this awful hotel slave quarter thing. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, that is weird.
Richard Grant does cute little dances. Like it's cute. It's a cute movie, and then they sing "Pure Imagination" at the end, and it's cute. So you know, if you're interested in seeing it, check it out. You won't hate it. You'll have a fine time, and then probably never think about it again. These songs are not good enough to like stay in your memory, which I think is kind of a big down mark on a musical. But you know, it's fine. Perfectly fine to watch over the holiday break if you had one. But yeah. B minus.
You keep saying Richard Grant, but it's Hugh Grant, and Hugh Grant looks like he could not have given a fuck to be there for like the 3 days that he was on set. He was just like, whatever. What do you make it? You're making me an Oompa Loompa? Okay, whatever.
Dune
even
grossed
change his-
Dune grossed $402 million, and Wonka did $400 million. Chalamet,
he's a movie
is
star.
a fucking bankable movie star. What is happening to my reality?
Which doesn't feel true.
It doesn't feel true at all.
Because he's made films that haven't made money. And like, did anyone see Bones and All?
No.
I feel like no.
No.
But it's like I don't like people in real life don't talk to me about Timothy Chalamet, you know? It's like Timothy Chalamet still feels like an online thing.
And it's just to me because he's not like okay, we're doing the movie star discussion now anyway, but like it's not like he's like a commanding presence, like male or female. He doesn't have that sort of like aura around him that demands that you watch whatever they're doing on the screen. And
don't the numbers say otherwise? I mean, I agree with you.
Is it the projects that he's picking?
It just doesn't feel true, you know? Like
he picked an
people
IP
talk to me
Willy
about
Wonka.
Ryan Gosling every day.
Wonka's IP, Dune is IP, so you're like he's attaching himself to the right projects, but people are not showing up because he's the lead of the film.
I don't think
can agree
so.
With that. I agree with that.
Like, okay, Bones and All was the movie that it made like $15 million on a $16 million budget.
That's IP, like, right? Isn't that a book?
What?
I don't know, but is that based on a book?
No, he was just like a cannibal. Him and a cannibal.
It's based on a novel, yeah.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just still like, I'm still not ready to be like he's the next DiCaprio. You know what I mean? And even DiCaprio had some stuff that was like, oh, these aren't the best after Titanic. Like these aren't the best choices in the world. But like, I don't know. You know, I can't.
Yeah, some that still doesn't feel right.
The smell test doesn't pass with it yet to me.
I definitely agree that he has not shown me anything on screen to where it's like, oh, this guy's got it, and people are going to show up to the theater specifically because he's the lead in the movie. Even though the numbers might show you he's a movie star, which I guess technically he is, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with your perspective on him of like he doesn't feel like, oh, he's the next guy. He just had two $400 million movies back to back. It doesn't feel like that to me.
And it still kind of feels that way with Tom Holland to me too, even though he's in the Spider-Man movies and they're like that big. Like the Uncharted movie made good money, but that's because it's like one of the most popular video games of all time too. It's like,
and everything outside of those Spider-Man and Uncharted hasn't really like stopped for him.
Yeah. So it's
but the thing is, I still watch pretty much every Timothy Chalamet performance being like, damn, I wish this was Tom Holland.
You're gonna get people on the internet mad at you for that.
If Tom Holland was in Dune telling jokes, it might have made the movie like 5% more watchable, but it might have also ruined like every bit of like the movie they want to make.
If he was like falling over himself doing like the yakety sax, like, yeah. Anyway, he's doing Chalamet's doing the whisper talking again in the Dune trailer, and I'm
Hey, listen, I got a hot take on this podcast. Y'all know how I feel about Dune. Dune 1 fucking stinks. I'm not rewatching that film. But I do have to report that Dune 2 trailer looks fucking
You're in?
perfect. I'm sorry. I am in. That
So good.
trailer is so fucking awesome. Oh my god, that trailer looks amazing.
I saw that shit the other day when I was watching. I don't remember
That
which
shit
movie,
green.
but I was like, "Hey, yo,
That shit looks so fire. I'm in. Sorry.
that shit looks so good." You're gonna have me back in there opening night. I don't care about Doom Part 1 at all, and like I probably won't rewatch it, but I'm like,
I'm there
yo,
opening night. That shit
Doom
looks so
Part-
fire. I'm in.
Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Austin Butler is like this big bald dude who's kicking ass. I'm like, yeah, brother. Like,
I will
we're
be
back.
seated. I will be seated.
I said all of that to say I'm there opening night, so I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I will be seated.
Speaking of people that they're trying to make movie stars, anyone but you.
I'm
Anyone
glad we're
but
talking about
you-
this movie. I'm so happy that we're including this movie in this breakdown because I'm so happy. I have
Anyone
so
but
many
you
thoughts.
is like the second most popular movie.
Good.
I mean,
It deserves.
or actually like the third technically behind The Color Purple, but The Color Purple cost $100 million to make.
Yeah,
This cost like $30 million to make, and it's made that money back. Oh, actually, I can tell you right now. Hold on.
All of it was helicopter fuel. So.
Yeah, exactly. It 25 million.
basically,
And
that was a $20 million set piece
and
right there.
what's her Sydney Sweeney's wardrobe budget, but 25 million, 35 million worldwide. So the
Her wardrobe budget
children,
couldn't have been much. She spends most of this movie in like literal bikinis, like the which is a great decision. I have no
good
notes,
for them,
but
you know.
Yeah.
Anyone but you. Rated R. Hour 43 minutes. Breeze. After an amazing first date, B and Ben's fiery attraction turns ice cold until they find themselves unexpectedly reunited at a destination wedding in Australia. Good location. Thank you for going actually to Australia to film this movie. We
Yeah,
appreciate
that
that.
really helps.
We appreciate
Yeah.
this wasn't filmed in a backlot in Georgia. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Um, So they do what any two mature adults would do: pretend to be a couple. Written and directed by Will Gluck. Written also by Ayanna Wolpert.
Will Gluck
and
of Easy A fame.
of Easy A fame and Friends with Benefits, a very good movie actually, and also written by our boy Billy Shakes,
Hell yeah, brother.
hmm
Billiam Shakespeare, based on Much Ado About.
Right. You've never seen any of his work, I'm certain.
Yeah, I don't know, some guy from London. Stars Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney, also some really everyone's hot. Just gonna get that out of the way. Alexandra Shipp. Let's see. It goes down the list. Gata. Let's see. Hadley Robinson, Dermot Mulroney, Rachel Griffiths. Let's see here. Joe Davidson as the himbo, Bo, which is funny. Charlie Fraser, which this is her first movie. She was like a model.
Wait, is that the
Margaret.
Australian chick that he has a crush on?
Yes, and
Got
Brian Brown and Michelle Hurd, who is the most striking woman I've ever seen in my entire life.
Which was
As
Michelle Hurd? Is
Carol,
that his friend?
No, the mother, yeah,
The
black-
mother. Got it.
black
Yes,
mother,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, made decent money. People seem to really enjoy it. 6.6 on IMDb, standard for romantic comedies. 52 Metascore, standard for romantic comedies. In 2002, this would have been a 9 out of 10, and it would have made
In 2002, this would be a cultural classic. This would
It
be
would have
like
been
the
massive.
moment.
Yes.
Yeah, would have made $100 million. There are some problems with this movie that I will say, like because it doesn't quite fall into what it knows what it wants to be at times.
True.
I found myself laughing really hard at a lot of stuff, but it didn't quite want to lean into some of the sex comedy or some of the gross out comedy that it wanted to do. Sometimes the lines were coming in too quick and they weren't like letting a joke breathe at all. Or sometimes they were letting a joke breathe too long. The pacing was a little weird. Like I've said, beautiful people, beautiful gowns. I'm glad they put hot people in hot movies doing hot things. And look, not for nothing, Sydney Sweeney, great to look at. Glenn Powell, even equally is great to look at. And
I feel like hot doesn't really characterize exactly what the two leads of this film.
Yeah, that's
are.
fair. I mean, just
it's
sex.
not even a
just
it's
sex.
It's just sex. It's just.
But the problem is, that's another problem with the movie. Kind of sexless.
Literally, there is a sex scene in this movie, by the way. But
yeah, there is.
It is a sexless movie. I agree with that.
Yeah, it is kind of sexless, which is not what they sold us.
Not what I wanted. I would have ratcheted up more sex. Probably 65% more sex. I won't lie.
Yeah, exactly. So my problems with Sydney Sweeney kind of do continue. Glenn Powell as well too. They seem kind of like similar actors to me, where if they get a really good script, they can meet what the really good script is, but they cannot elevate a super bad script. And I'm not saying this is a terrible script. It's kind of
perfect.
It's kind of mediocre. And I just felt them straining to sort of elevate what was sort of a mediocre interplay between the two. Also, the biggest problem with the movie, we're meant to expect that these two ultra sexy people are not going to have sex on the first date. What are we talking about?
We're also supposed to believe that Sydney Sweeney is like a mess,
a disaster.
A hot guy is around. All of a sudden, she can't get her words together. It doesn't track. There are issues with this script for sure, and I do think that the comedic timing is sometimes weird. But my God, these people are just so fucking good looking. Did I make up the fact that they're dating? Did I make that up? Are they not dating?
You did.
In real life?
Yeah, they're not. It's one of those Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga situations where it's
I watched this movie through that lens of these are two people that are dating in real life. I don't know where I got that from, by the way. I don't be keeping track of
internet rumors.
We're all rooting for it. Like that's what we're trying to make happen. Well, she's engaged to some civilian, but
no. Well, she shouldn't be engaged to a civilian. It should be me. But that's not the point. Oh my God, Sydney Sweeney is so fucking good looking, and she's basically naked the whole movie, which makes the lack of sex in the movie so weird because these people are basically naked the entire film. They're just on the beach, in bikinis, in the water, getting wet, but then they're together in their intimate moments, and they're just like the first night they have a great night together, but they don't sleep together. They wake up cuddling. Why? Let's get to it. Let's get to the real shit here. They can't know they're in love with each other until they have sex. So let's let them have sex early.
Because that's how it works in real life.
That's how it works. You gotta get in there. So this movie's really funny. The script is not perfect by any means, and I do agree that Sydney Sweeney, especially, I was more scared about him and his comedic timing, Powell. But I think I realized from watching this movie that Powell can just whatever movie you put him in, he's just gonna be great. Like
Glenn Powell's just cool as shit.
He's too cool. He's too good.
It's impossible for him to not be cool.
But he's not afraid to make fun of himself. So like that it makes him more endearing. Like he's just like he's got every tool in the bag.
He has chemistry with everyone, including everyone on the Top Gun set. So like
like put him on the screen with someone, he's gonna figure it out. So these two people, what really makes the movie work is that A, it's funny, and B, these two people do have some chemistry. It's not like we've all seen rom-coms where we realize early on these two leads have no chemistry and the movie is over. There's some natural chemistry. And there's a lot of fire that's kind of under the surface, which makes it weird that the movie is so sexless because we feel that fire burning of these two very hot people who are very comfortable with each other in terms of their chemistry, but also they're not fucking. It's just that part's weird. But this is a good movie. I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on it. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. I would watch it again. I laughed, and whoever did wardrobe for Sydney Sweeney. I thank you so much. That woman is so fucking good looking. It is ridiculous. And when the old guy says that, he's like, "Oh yeah, the one with the what do you say? Like plump breasts and the sad eyes." That was so funny. That was so funny. Gator doesn't work in this film. I know that he's been in other stuff. He's also in the Dave show, Dave, which is a good show. He has nothing to do in this film. They wrote him nothing funny. The only funny scene he has is the scene with her dad, or is that his dad? I think that's her dad. One of their dads is like they're supposed to like be. They use this trope a lot, which is a very stupid way to do the movie. There's a lot of overheard conversations in this movie that lead to disagreements and lead to misunderstandings.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Except for there's like 9 of them. There's literally like a plot point where everybody is having loud ass conversations, but then sometimes it's not planned that they're having loud conversations. They actually are having a conversation that's overheard by a character. A really stupid way to write the script. That's one of the biggest flaws in the script is that we're
Shakespeare, though.
we're very
They tried to do it like a stage play where it's like, how are we not hearing this person that's whispering in the wings of this stage? But they do it where they're like yelling at each other like big dumb idiots and like
You're making this movie in 2023. Why not do all that stuff electronically? Why does she? Because so the breakdown happens because after their amazing night together where they don't have sex, Sydney Sweeney ups and leaves because she doesn't know what to do or how to handle the fact that she's like someone. She's never
Don't believe
liked
that for a
anyone
second.
before. I don't believe that. She's never felt fire before at that age, looking like that. She's never felt any. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, so she walks out. His feelings are hurt. So he's talking to Gaeta, and she walks back to the apartment because she forgot something and just overhears him shitting on her. Why didn't we just have him send the wrong text message to Sydney Sweeney? That's such a better way to do that scene. She doesn't have
Fair
to
enough.
actually be at his house. That is, just have him send the wrong text message. It's 2023. Problems with the script aside, great time at the movie.
Well, I mean, there's no reason for him to send that as a text message if he's not there.
Why
Like,
not? You're trying to send it to the group chat. Whoops, send it to the wrong person. Now she sees it. He tries to apologize, but she blocks him. Boom.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
agree, T. I just think this is like 2 rewrites away from being like an all-time classic.
Yeah, we could have had something.
Yeah.
A couple rewrites away, and we could have really had because the chemistry was there between our two leads, and that's the most important part of any rom-com.
And that's
had
really
the
what they
chemistry.
kind of like got these 2 people on the movie and they're like, all right, let's make a movie around these
Yes.
2.
That's what it felt like,
Yeah, so anyway.
Like, I
get it. I get it.
I'm in. Done.
and it worked.
Dax, go ahead. You really liked it.
Yeah, I fucking love this movie, and I'm probably gonna buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out because I am a sucker for
Real
a
sick.
rom-com.
Real
Those are
sicko.
gone.
I am a sucker for a rom-com, and especially a Shakespeare adaptation. William Shakespeare, like, obviously, like, goated. Like, everyone is forced
Oh,
to read
really?
Shakespeare for a reason, but people are like, oh. Why they make us read Shakespeare? It's so unimportant. Like, why do I care about this? Because he's fucking good. That's why. And every
known good poet and playwright.
Being a big
No.
Shakespeare guy is not on my list of the.
No,
the-
me
I
either.
know this is coming.
known good poet and playwright Shakespeare. People are like, oh, why are we reading Romeo and Juliet? Because that's like the basis of every love story you've ever read in your fucking life. Know the source material. All right?
Read a book.
Read a book, you bitch. So I didn't know this was a Shakespeare adaptation going into it, and then the movie
Really?
started, and I was like,
They throw
Wait.
it at you.
yeah, I was like, wait, hold on. Is that what we're about to do? And it works. It works every time. It works in 10 Things I Hate About You. It works in whatever other like rom-com
She's
you
the
loved in
Man.
2000. Yeah. And it still works here. Also, there's a scene in this movie, and I wrote about this when I like posted on Letterboxd, where Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney are hanging out of a helicopter above an Australian harbor,
Sydney
and
Harbor.
they sing Natasha Bedingfield to each other.
Incredible.
That is my kind of shit. Like at any point ever. Like you put that in your movie, I'm in. Like I love stupid, ridiculous shit like that. That's just corny and cheesy and delightful. Like I'm the guy who loves This Means War, that terrible Reese Witherspoon, Tom Hardy movie.
Oh,
I love it.
Terrible. Not
'Cause it's-
terrible.
I love that movie. People, I think it has like a 7 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like people hate that movie, but I love it because Reese Witherspoon walks around her house singing "This Is How We Do It" to herself, while Tom Hardy and the other guy, I forget his name right now, are like
Chris
doing
Pine.
spy shit. Chris Pine are doing spy shit all around the house. I'm a sucker for scenes like that in rom-coms, and this movie had like 8
That
of
film
them.
is good. I don't care what anyone says. That film is good.
Is it wrong of me to say that my favorite part of the movie were the credits where all the cast was singing?
Me too.
That's awesome.
It was amazing. It was like, oh, now we can get the script out the way and we can just let these cast members have some fun. Perfect way
Right.
to end the movie. I love that. I love that.
So,
Also,
yeah, I love this movie.
Unwritten, all-time rom-com song.
Yes, it's perfect. It's
Yeah,
all-time song. It's just,
All-time song up for any purpose.
I'll say this: I really came away like I just love that Glenn Powell is really, for somebody as hot as he is, like he shouldn't be able to make fun of himself, and it like him just being like, "Yeah, I did crack and meth," and you're just like that was the funniest bit to me, and I don't think a lot of people laughed at it, but I was crying laughing. It's like,
He's
is that
like, yeah,
is that an investor's bar mitzvah?
You gonna call me a fuckboy? I've owned it. I own that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like just the scene, like where they're on the airplane and like Sydney Sweeney like gets her sleeve stuck or something,
Right.
and it's like I'm like, yeah, I love this. Like this is awesome. Keep doing this.
Funniest
but yeah.
line delivery of the movie was he goes, there's nothing small about me, pal. You know what I mean? He goes, what the fuck?
Yeah, that old man right there. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think the only place where I'm like, yeah, there's two things about this movie that I'm like, yeah, this you should do something better here. It's Gata or whatever his name is, the
He
black
just
guy.
doesn't work. He just
Doesn't
doesn't
work.
there.
Not funny. Like obviously, like his lines weren't that funny as written, but also he's just not funny delivering them. And then there's a couple other scenes in here where, like you said, some of the jokes come a little too quick, some of them take a little too long. Like it's not as funny as it could be. But I found this movie delightful, and I recommend everyone see it if you haven't yet.
I will. I just want to stop. Gata is not good. I think it's Gata. Gata is not good in this film. But the scene with the old man, where the old man is like from a different generation, so everything he's saying is like wildly problematic.
Yeah,
that was when I was like, this is a comedically timing is right. The timing is perfect. The way they're reacting is perfect. But there are most of the time where there are jokey jokes going back and forth, a joke a minute. The timing gets wonky and weird at times. But I thought that scene was the scene where it was like, they nailed this. They nailed the timing of this. I was in stitches during that scene. I was in stitches.
I also think the best set piece though too was the Titanic me, which bordered on like it could have been awful, and it actually ended up being pretty good. The Titanic scene, but yeah, another go at this would have pushed it over the top for me. Again, really liked it. It's gonna do gangbusters on Netflix whenever it comes out.
This is gonna be massive. If y'all went to Netflix and watched that stupid ass Jennifer Lawrence movie, this movie's gonna go crazy on Netflix.
Watch that in theaters,
9
Bubba.
times better than that fucking movie.
Yeah, we watched that in theaters like real men.
Also, the guy that played Bo, the himbo, was really good, and he shows us his penis in this, so that was another thing.
They did give you equal amount of boob and penis, and I thought that was very intentional. They get the Australian girl shows her boobs, and then the jacked Australian dude shows his dick. There you go. And you get some Sydney Sweeney side boob, and Glenn Powell is basically naked through the whole movie, but you don't see his dick. But he's basically like there's a thing where there's a spider in his butt, which works out. It's pretty funny. Another one that could be like cringe, but because he's so charming and endearing, and he can make fun of himself, it works. But if it's somebody who takes themselves too seriously, that scene just doesn't work. And I like the fact that both of them are obviously that hot, but they were not afraid to make themselves the butt of the jokes, which really helped the movie. I think that just really helps.
This is going to sound demeaning, and I'm taking it from somebody else, but I don't mean it to. But I promise you, it's been said other places, not just me. They said that Sydney Sweeney's boobs are a special effect, and whatever they meant by that, I 100% agree with.
He's right.
Yes.
God damn. Oh my Lord Jesus! I was sweating in the movie theater.
So for a person that with that much like flair and how hot she is and how hot they are together, I keep going back to this. The fact that it was so sexless is so weird to me, but I digress.
Yeah. Glenn Powell, I think, is starting to enter. I'll watch it because he's in it territory. I say starting to enter because I did not see Devotion, and I don't regret that now. But yeah,
I didn't either, and now I feel like I can't go back. But kind of want to see Glenn Powell in that film. Kind of want to see.
Yeah, I want to see, but I don't. Yeah, you know.
I feel like if I want to see Glenn Powell in a plane, I have the greatest movie that's ever been made to go to. So
yeah, that is true.
I have the dudes rockinest movie to ever dudes rock in the history of forever.
His next movie to come out is called Hitman, written and directed by Richard Linklater.
It's amazing. It's Linklater.
I will be there.
Linklater is him, first of all. But second, apparently this movie people are already raving about. They said this is amazing, and Glenn Powell is.
He also wrote it.
That territory for me as well.
Glenn Powell also wrote this movie along with Linklater too. So Linklater may be, he may be Linklater's new McConaughey.
I can't wait.
I will be there no matter
Is
what.
this coming in 2024? Because we need all the 24.
Yeah, I think it goes wide
in.
I think it goes wide in 24, but it already played at like Sundance. It has a 7.8 on IMDb and an 82 Metascore. So
People coming out of Sundance were very high on it, and I like Linklater a lot. So I'm in. I'm all the way.
That, and he's going to be in the follow up to Twisters.
You know, I have not seen a trailer for that. I love Twister. I love Helen Hunt. Sign me up for this. Sure, let's do it. Why not?
I wanted to hate that they named it Twisters, but I kind of love it.
Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah, if you're gonna do aliens, fuck it.
They did literally do aliens. You're right.
Final film, real quick. Teach, we don't have to go too in deep with this.
Speaking of Dudes Rock.
Speaking of Dudes Rock and Dad Cinema, it is actually, I don't know if this. Yeah, this is a Dudes Rock. This isn't a Hell Yeah Brother. This is a Dudes Rock.
Yeah.
Ferrari starring Adam Driver by Michael Mann, rated R movie.
The return of Michael Mann.
The return of Michael Mann for the first time since Black Hat, which bombed.
And it stinks. It's bad.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me get the specs for Ferrari real quick. 2 hours, 10 minutes. Kind of really goes. Set in the summer of 1957 with Enzo Ferrari's auto empire in crisis, the ex-racer turned entrepreneur pushes himself and his drivers to the edge as they launch into the Magilla, a treacherous 1,000-mile race across Italy. Stars Adam Driver as another famous Italian. Shailene Woodley, desperately miscast in this movie. And Penelope Cruz, who threatened to kind of steal the show. Also Penelope Cruz, still got it.
Literally,
she was nominated for an Oscar like last year.
No, I'm not saying like her talent went away. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Also Patrick Dempsey is in this movie. Directed by Michael Mann, written by Troy Kennedy Martin, who passed away before this movie could even get made. Quick backstory about this movie. This movie
he passed away years and years
ago.
Years, like early 2000s.
Yeah, so this movie has been in production hell for like years, for like decades actually. He was supposed to make this movie in the 90s, early 2000s. At one point Christian Bale was attached to play Ferrari. And that is very funny because this is the same story as Ford versus Ferrari,
literally,
just from Ferrari's perspective. And yeah, and somehow they got that movie made before Michael fucking Mann could make his Ferrari movie. This cost a lot of money to make, $110 million to make. It tanked. $19 million, and your dad didn't even go see it, which is shocking.
I don't know that my dad has heard of this movie, to be honest with you.
Well, when I say your dad, I mean me. My father. 6.8 on IMDb, 73 Metascore. T, just step it out for a second, so I'll give you my real quick take on it. I really actually enjoyed this movie. I think Tej is going to come back and say like he didn't care for the story that much. I really enjoyed, because it's a story that we've unfortunately seen before, because it's literally Ford versus Ferrari, but from Ferrari's perspective. We know the history of it. If you've seen that movie, if you haven't, this may come as a new shock to you. Adam Driver, Italian accent withstanding, I thought was very, very good. I think Michael Mann knows how to direct movie stars. So he does really well with Penelope Cruz and Adam Driver. Shailene Woodley, God bless her, was hopelessly miscast. Her Italian accent was notwithstanding. She doesn't get a lot to do. And again, it's a Michael Mann movie. His women characters are always written like this, as women trying to stifle the great man sort of thing. But I thought the racing scenes were brilliant. I wish they would have had a little bit more money for the CGI for some of these crashes. But there is a set piece at the very end of this movie that is the most shocking thing that I think I've seen in theaters in 2023. I liked it for what it was, and thank God for Michael Mann. 2 hours, 10 minutes, in and out. Let's fucking go, dude. Dudes rock.
Can y'all just tell me what the set piece is? Because I don't think I'm gonna see this movie, and I keep hearing everyone say that.
Oh, so just a spoiler alert for the movie, because again, no one watched it, but I'm sure it'll be. I don't even know who produced this movie, but I don't know where it'll be. Probably Amazon or something. But they're racing in that cross country race. Like it's not what the race was in Ford versus Ferrari where they go
Yeah.
all through the night.
Le Mans.
Le Mans,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the Le Mans. This is like a cross country thing, literally like through civilian areas, which becomes relevant to how the race turns up.
So
this is not. It's not like on a track. It's like literally through the countryside.
Through the country road. So they're going a million miles an hour. They're racing all kinds of different cars. They introduce this driver who's supposed to be his next best driver, who's kind of this hothead who wants to win and yada, yada, yada. He doesn't like change his tires. He runs down this long straightaway. The entire village comes out to greet these drivers as the Ferrari cars are passing. He hits a metal piece in the road. His tire explodes. His car flips through the air and kills like 17 men, women, and children that are lined along this road.
Jesus.
It is one of the most
splits them
shocking
in
things that
half.
I've ever seen in a movie theater. It was insane.
Yeah.
That moment, literally, my whole theater, you could hear everybody gasp. It was so shocking to watch. Like, because you can, first of all, you know that the driver's going to die as soon as they introduce him. You can tell. You just tell. And also, he only gets.
It's one of those.
Yeah, well, like the driver he replaced died.
Yeah. So you know he's going to die. But when it actually happens, it's one of the more shocking things that I've ever seen. I agree that the racing scenes are phenomenal in this film. I agree that the two crash scenes that both led to deaths, and like the cars are open, so like there's no
seatbelts.
Yeah, there's no seatbelts, there's no nothing. So the drivers are dead immediately because the drivers are literally on both crash scenes. The driver is flying through the air. It's insane to
like
watch.
A rag doll. He comes
like,
out of the car.
Like a doll.
Yeah.
Like it looks insane. It is.
That first one was almost funny.
That
first crash was like kind of fun because you're looking at the car and you're looking where the car, and all of a sudden his body is
all of a sudden
floating.
It's like the body is always off centered because the car is centered. But the body's like in the corner of the screen, just flying across the screen.
It's crazy
the way they did it.
And people didn't like actually stop dying in these kind of cars until like 10 years ago. Like it's like a very new element that these are actually not flying death traps.
The racing stuff really works. I definitely agree that man knows how to shoot male movie stars, and the way that driver is framed, he's framed like a movie star. It's a lot, and like it's basically him walking in and out of rooms, usually a room of one wife or the other wife, whatever. That stuff really worked for me. I like driver's performance. But this movie is only half about that. My problem with the movie is that the movie is not like Ford versus Ferrari, which is all about this final race that you're coming to save this company, to prove that this American-made car can beat these European manufacturers. This movie is only half about that. First of all, the race that they have to run in this movie, spoiler alert, this race is about to save the company. The company is like in financial distress. So this race is going to get them on the map so that they can produce more sports cars. But Enzo doesn't necessarily care about the company or selling cars. He cares about racing. He's an ex-racer. He's only making cars so that he can fund the racing division. So they're supposed to win this race to save the company. Well, obviously, from what we told you about the crash, they don't win this fucking race. So it all feels like this whole storyline of like the company about to go under just doesn't pay off because they don't win the race, and yet
one person does.
Is. Well, one. There's like 9 different classes of cars in this race, but they don't even That's true. One of them does win, but they don't even show you that shit. They don't like the company is going under, but I know what a Ferrari is because the company did not go under, obviously. So that part doesn't work for me. And the other half of the movie is about his relationship with these two women, and the difference between a movie like Maestro and a movie like Ferrari is that I knew what Maestro about walking in. This is about a love story, so that's what I expected to see. This movie, the storyline with Shailene Woodley quite literally has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Like, it puts pressure on his relationship with Penelope Cruz, who is great. I agree, her performance is great, and those scenes with them are really phenomenal. But every time Shailene Woodley is on screen, an actress that I really like, by the way, just completely miscast. And also, we need to get her agent on the phone because, holy shit, Shailene Woodley should be getting way better roles than this. It's just like a complete nothing burger. And you spend a lot of time with his women in terms of his personal life, and his personal life doesn't ever actually converge with the story about the company, other than the fact that Penelope Cruz's character runs the company with him. So I think the Penelope Cruz storyline works so much and the Shailene Woodley stuff just doesn't. The stuff about he's got the tension between the two women is basically not only is he sleeping with both of them, he's having an affair, but Penelope Cruz's character had a son and they had a son together, but they lost that son. The son died early. And now she finds out at the same time she knows that he's having an affair with Shailene Woodley, she finds out that he has a son by her. So now she has given him an heir, and that creates tension. Okay, that makes perfect sense. But I just found myself so checked out of the Shailene Woodley scenes, which is a good third of the movie, that I was just like, this movie overall as a narrative doesn't work because I don't understand how this half of the story interplays with the other half of the story. The Dudes Rock part of the story, really good. Really enjoyed myself. This clip has been going around, which I hate when this happens, but I did see the clip when he's talking to the guys about you're either a racer or a competitor. If basically
he's like, you have to die for me. It's incredible.
You basically got to get out there and die for me if you're going to do this for me, which is even more harrowing because when he sees the first guy die,
whoa.
Yeah, I lost you too.
Tease your mic cap cut out.
Sorry, my mic cut out. My AirPods.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Okay.
So it's even more harrowing, that scene, just because he literally sees a guy die while he's at practice. He just kind of like doesn't flinch. He just walks over to the new guy. Is like, "Hey, you're up. I'll see you at practice on Monday." Like it just does not move him, the fact that this person has died. So you see kind of his psyche in that regard. And so when he has this talk with the big team about you need to be willing to die for this, one, it's easy to see that somebody's going to die, but also two, Adam Driver's performance is just like completely insane in that moment. So there are moments in the movie I really like. And Michael Mann's talented. He's a good director. I just think that the two halves of this movie don't have a conversation enough for it to really make sense. And so I don't hate Ferrari. I would probably watch it again. I didn't love it. It's not something that made me feel like this was real cinema. And my hopes, unfortunately, were sky high for this movie because of the trailer, because of Adam Driver, because of Michael Mann, because of Penelope Cruz, who's objectively great in the film. There are a lot of good pieces going, but I don't think it came together to create like a cohesive narrative that I needed. But there's some really cool shit. And that scene at the end is probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen on a movie screen.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll watch that again just because it's so harrowing, but it's like the racing stuff is really good. But if you do want to watch, like, I think a better old-timey racing movie about this, it's Ford versus Ferrari, which is funny. I'm just looking at it now. Michael Mann's an executive producer on Ford versus Ferrari.
What?
Yeah, I just looked that up. It goes to his producing credits first, and it said he's an executive producer on Ford versus Ferrari.
That's a hard movie to beat because that movie is so fucking perfectly made, and Matt Damon is
movie's so good.
Matt Damon is he's mind blowing. He's out of this world in that film. He's just ridiculous.
Matt Damon was like the coolest motherfucker that ever existed in that movie.
Right.
That shit rules.
Yeah, it was missing sort of that other interplay. Like he has the interplay with his wife, but like the interplay between the two guys for a Dudes Rock movie, it is just like Adam Driver being Dudes Rock, you know? I mean, his drivers are there, but none of the drivers, like Patrick Dempsey is famous, I guess, to some people, but it's not like one of the drivers is fucking Christian Bale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was
it's not like you got Brad Pitt or
right.
The Punisher like in this movie to kind of give some other energy in a different role. It's not like that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Exactly. So that has been our movie slate. We just ran down the entire thing. Dex, have you seen anything else?
Wait, we got to do top fives first. Don't forget that.
I know.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of any other like streaming or anything else that we've seen because we did it all, I think. Granted, look, okay, so now we're going to do hard cut. Now we're going to do our top 5 movies of 2023, bringing in them in the year of our Lord 2024. Some noted exceptions.
Y'all can't cop out like Mo, by the way. I got a top 5. I want them ranked.
Yeah, I got you.
I got a top 5. Some notable exceptions. We have not seen Anatomy of a Fall. We have not seen Zone of Interest. We have not seen
All of Us Strangers.
We have not seen American Fiction. And several other foreign films. Normally, I will get to those when they drop on Hulu before the Oscars.
Yeah, same.
But but the ones that spread in America, Anatomy of a Fall, Zone of Interest, just haven't come out yet. And I'm shocked. I don't know what Searchlight is doing with Poor Things and All of Us Strangers, but the fact that All of Us Strangers has not come out and it has like the best reviews in the year, I'm still mad about that. Anyway,
Have you seen The Holdovers, Royden?
I did see The
Okay.
Holdovers.
I'm the only one who hasn't seen The Holdovers then.
Really enjoyed that movie. We talked about it in the group chat, but for here, I thought that Paul Giamatti is probably going to get nominated for an Oscar, but neither here nor there. Kind of a depressing movie, but also kind of one of the funniest movies of the year too.
Has any of y'all seen the Boys in the Boat?
No, all of my grandparents have.
I want to see that too.
Let's see. So top 5 movies of 2023. TJ, what is your number 5?
Let's change it to not top. Like these are my 5 favorite movies of the year, not necessarily the 5 best movies of the year. I want to make that clear. These
5
are my
favorite.
movies
Same.
of the year.
Okay.
Same.
My number 5 movie, after much rigmarole about how I was going to order this list, I wasn't even going to tell you how much, but I had 20 films, like I said before. But I went with Godzilla -1 at number 5. I'm just
brother.
blown away by what they were able to accomplish. That's real cinema. That's dudes being dudes. That's why I go to the fucking movie theaters. And please, if you have a chance, go see this in the movie theater. That's my number 5 movie.
Dex, I'm trying to find my number 5 list.
Dex, give us your number 5.
Okay, yeah. Again, this is my top 5 favorite. And this is in order, but at number 5, I had to go with Theater Camp. I just
Real
enjoyed
cinema.
that movie so much. I watched it twice and I like died laughing both times at the same exact jokes. Like I love that movie. Found it delightful and actually was like very emotionally moved by the final song in it. So like I had to put it at number 5.
It's such an easy watch.
Again,
It's
this is
so
favorite, not best, but man, Theater
Incredible
Camp is so
film.
good. I might watch it again this week.
Theater
good. Incredible
Camp
film.
did not get enough love, and I don't know why, because it did come out on Hulu, so I'm not like really sure why it didn't get enough love.
No matter what y'all's taste levels are, no matter what kind of movies you like, turn on Theater Camp. It's short, it's sweet, and you will have a good time. It's phenomenal. I cannot say enough about Theater Camp. It's great.
Hold on, fuck. I'm sorry. I tweeted my top
You
5
tweeted that
list.
these are spoiler alerts. You gave them the information early.
Yeah, I mean, we did. We
I also tweeted
we all
mine.
did.
Shit, I didn't
Oh.
tweet mine.
This was because I put it out like 2 weeks ago. Now this is subject to change because follow me on Letterboxd at Royden Ogletree. I've now seen more movies. Let's see. At number 5, my 5 favorites of the year. John Wick Chapter 4.
Hell yeah, brother.
Can I get a hell yeah, brother? Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
Dude, man. Like they keep going, and I don't know how they keep doing it. Keanu Reeves, thank you to you and your team for keeping healthy enough to deliver us fucking badass action in France. And the top-down gunfight scene is hands down probably my favorite, like one of my favorite, probably my favorite set piece that I've seen in a movie this year. No, all puns intended, blown away by that. So that is my number 5, John Wick Chapter 4.
Okay, is it my
Teach.
number 4? My number 4, and I cannot believe this movie is this low on my list, is Oppenheimer. It's
Whoa!
the sound.
Oh,
The sound in that movie alone is just great. Obviously, the cast is perfect. Killian is perfect. I did give it a ding it a little bit for the way that our Queen Florence Pugh was treated in this film, and the way that I
terribly,
did it a little bit. But that's literally just me like making nitpicks and because I had to find a way to separate out these 5 films that I love so much. Really, these 20 films that I love so much. It's been a great year in 2020. But I got Oppenheimer, man. That it gave me everything that I needed. It's just a phenomenal film, and I truly did not think that he could make a movie. I didn't think Nolan had that in him. I did not know that Nolan can go to those depths and those levels in order to give us a film of this type, a 3-hour procedural. I saw that shit 3 times in movie theaters, 3 times. So Oppenheimer, my number 4.
I did see it. I said on this podcast, instead of going and seeing all of these movies that I was supposed to see, I I balked on that and knew that I was gonna have to like scramble to get it done because I wanted to see Oppenheimer one more time when they re-release it in theaters. So I did, and it was awesome. Dex, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Across the Spider-Verse.
Incredible.
Actually,
Easily,
my number 4 as well.
Nice.
hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Easily the best animated movie of the year. Not a high bar, but it was just such a great continuation of an already great story. Obviously, you have to kind of take it a little bit with a grain of salt because it's just a part 1, but it doesn't piss you off as a part 1 like Dune does,
Right.
which we made that comparison
Nice.
when we did the podcast episode.
Also,
on
they
it.
told you it was a part 1.
Yeah, they literally.
They told you it was a part 1. They did also tell us that like they had the part 2 already finished and they lied. But
They literally lied.
They've been working those people like they're in a sweatshop, and then they were just telling us like, "No, it's done," and the people are like, "Help!"
But yeah, I like that they give you a little more of Gwen and her dad's relationship, and it's really cool. Obviously, they give you more Miles and Miguel, the new villain character, owns like just cool as shit, and they made it work with all the multiverse stuff, which can be hard. It can feel like, you know, sometimes in some movies it feels like, oh, they're just throwing these people in here for the sake of it, but they really made it work by like tripling down on what worked about the first one. So yeah, I just love it.
Comedy works. That animation style is still unlike anything that I think we've seen, and people
Man.
they're trying to copy it or what have you to varying effect. Again, set pieces of the year nomination, the scramble to get out of the big spider group, whatever that was, the big spider base in Nueva York. So that was all time. My heart was pounding when that was happening, and it was also incredibly funny.
Yeah,
Lord and Miller have their finger on whatever pulse it is that makes this stuff work. Granted, they're working their poor animators to the bone, but you know what? Cinema, baby.
also the dot thing, whatever that villain
Yeah.
was, I don't remember
Spot?
what it was
The
called,
Spot.
but he was cool as shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
So I agree. That was my number 4. Tej, what was your number 3?
My number 3, and again, can't believe this is at this place on my list, but it is. Killers of the Flower Moon. We came, we saw.
That is my number 3 as well.
White people were fucking awful, but Leo's performance, Lily's performance, De Niro just being a complete piece of shit. It's just perfect. And Scorsese continues to go to heights that there's some stuff legitimately in this movie that I did not think that, like, obviously Scorsese was making movies for 50 years. But some of that stuff, when they're all come out there, first of all, the soundtrack, like I said at the time we recorded that episode, the score of this film is the best score I heard all year, hands down. It is so fucking perfect. It is so haunting at times. But when they're playing that music where the people are covered in oil from that trailer, the song from that trailer, that shit hit me. I saw that in the trailer, and in the theater, that shit still hit me so hard. This is damn near a perfect film, and the fact that we're able to get to that act where Lily is in bed for a third of this movie, and her performance is still so fucking captivating. The way that he chose to end it was just perfect. Going up on the drone and going ahead, going above the last shot of the movie is just so beautiful. It's just I'm blown away. I saw it in movie theaters twice. I cannot wait to watch it again. I'm blown away by what he was able to accomplish. Killers of the Flower Moon, I have it in number 3.
Basing your entire movie around the unlikable character is an incredible trope that Martin Scorsese is known to do, and we eat it up every single time, including this movie that is based on a book that was about the formation of the FBI, and they just turn it on its head. Yep. And I think it was a really smart choice. People had their problems with what stories they were willing to tell. We went over it in detail in our Killers of the Flower Moon episode. I think Lily Gladstone deserves an Oscar. It's going to suck if she doesn't win, but
Agreed.
Also it is the most tight actress category that, I mean, we've seen since the last most tight actress category, best actress category. Leo gives a great performance as a complete dumbass idiot scumbag. Martin Scorsese, also king of where the fuck did you find these people
Yeah.
to put in this movie. He's awesome. And also, I think it's really the best that De Niro has been in a really long time.
I agree with that.
He's just the devil. He's just the devil, and that's really cool.
That
And,
dude from the Indian Tribunal is in the movie for 5 minutes, and that might be the best 5 minutes of a movie I have seen this year. That dude his voice is so perfect, and it makes me shake inside every time I've seen that scene now 5 or 6 times because I found it on the internet. Just that scene alone.
And again,
where do you find that guy? Like, how did you find him? He's perfect. I can't believe it.
And again, nomination for best set piece, Martin Scorsese doing the radio play at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, shout out to Martin Scorsese, the king of. Oh shit, that's Martin Scorsese.
The Avengers are here. Yeah. Anyway, so Dex, what's your number?
Killers of the Flower Moon was not number 6 for the record, just outside the top 5. I had to put Theater Camp over it. I'm sorry.
What's your number 3?
But my number 3, which features my nomination and my choice for set piece of the year, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Hell yeah, brother!
Because the falling train off a cliff scene is one of the coolest things I've ever fucking seen. That shit felt like if they made the greatest Uncharted game of all time, they would have a cutscene or like a QuickTime event in it where you're doing shit that Tom Cruise is doing.
They do. That's in an Uncharted game. That's in Uncharted 2.
It rules. That shit fucks. Haley Atwell, amazing. Been thinking about her all year.
Greatness.
In the movie.
Great year for beautiful women, by the way.
Amen.
Facts. The girls won this year, like hands down.
They did. Haley Atwell, I love you. It's just incredible what you were able to do on that screen. Incredible.
Yeah. Palm Clementif also just being a weird like mime assassin thing for a little bit rules. Like every moment in that movie rules. And obviously Tom Cruise is willing to kill himself for my entertainment, and I will reward him for that with a spot on the number 3 on my list.
What a great year in cinema. We are so fucking back. That didn't even crack my top 5, and that shit blew my mind. I can't believe that.
It's in my honor.
Tom Cruise fighting ChatGPT and running across airport roofs. Like I'm sorry, I love it.
Doing close-up magic and then jumping motorcycles off of cliffs. He got permission to wreck motorcycles into the pristine Swiss Alps, and nobody said anything.
Insane.
He whooped off a cliff on a motorcycle. They showed that image on every poster. They showed that clip in every trailer. They put it all over social media.
Still a picturette of it, and it still hit.
And it's still fucking hit.
Everyone in my theater, the first time that I saw that movie, just gasped at first. It was it's about to happen. And then it happened, and everyone just started fucking giggling with glee. That shit ruled.
Paramount did them so dirty putting that movie where they did. Oh my god,
that was one of the nastiest movie placements. That movie should have been massive. If you just put it, if that shit dropped in August, we would have been talking about that shit on this podcast for a month.
Also, hey, you own put it on Paramount Plus already. What the fuck are we doing?
I'm so tired of Paramount.
Ugh. Anyway, that's in my honorable mentions as well. I don't necessarily know where it's going to be ranked at come year's end, but can't wait for part 2.
Need it. Okay, so my number 2.
Yeah,
my number 2 is John Wick 4. I said on the podcast when we watched that film, I said this is probably going to be my favorite movie of the year. It ended up at number 2. But the scene where they're at the Arc de Triomphe and he gets out of that car and those cars are driving around the circle, my breath, I literally could not breathe in the movie theater. That is some of the best CGI I've ever seen. I was so my heart was beating a million miles a minute. That's not even to mention the stairs scene, which is fucking incredible. That's not even to mention they're in a fucking German nightclub stabbing the shit out of each other and shooting each other while people are still dancing.
Shit.
People never stop dancing. That is real. The dude had the dude pulled out an axe and was swinging at John Wick, and the dude next to him was still fucking dancing in the club. That shit was that movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe they were able to do that with the 4th installment of John Wick. it is a mind blowing experience. I will never forget seeing that in a movie theater ever. For as long as I live, I will never ever forget those set pieces. He said probably 13 words. He could have said 0 words for all I cared. That was real fucking cinema. John Wick 4.
They really reduced it down to what it was always supposed to be.
Facts.
Like the thesis of the first John Wick is what John Wick 4 became. And then that is just don't talk. Do. And they did. Anyway, Dex, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah. You just cannot talk about this year in movies without talking about Barbie. And I loved it. Did the whole thing with the homies, all dressed up in pink, went and saw Barbie together. We were dying laughing. Like just this group of like 6 straight dudes in the middle of this like crowded theater full of the girls, the gays, and the theys, and we're all also just dying. Like, you know, like it's just that funny that it's funny for everyone, unless you are sexist, I guess. But just Ryan Gosling is perfect as Ken,
literally,
in this movie. Margot Robbie, there's never been a more perfect person to play Barbie in a movie since Barbie has existed. Yeah, everything about it.
Marilyn Monroe could not play a better Barbie than I think that.
No, like she had it all, and like the story, there's way more to it than you would expect from just a obvious like cash grab Barbie movie. It's like they give you a little substance there. Like some people obviously like push back on, oh, it's not that much substance. It's like basic feminist thought or whatever. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
What do you expect from the Mattel movie?
Yeah, the fucking director of Triangle of Sadness. I don't like this movie that they're just like trying to repackage their image. Shut the fuck up. All right, we're all having a great time, and that's what I'll remember about 2023. We all went to the movies together. We had a great fucking time watching Barbie, laughing, enjoying retro pink vibes, and Ryan Gosling singing. I hope he sings it at the Oscars. I hope he gets an Oscar for something in that movie.
If he gets best, give him best song. Let's do it.
Give it to him. Don't give it to Billie Eilish. She's good. She has enough.
Yeah. We were all in there breathing on each other and laughing. And if you weren't, you're weird. Ben Shapiro, we're looking at you. Oh wait, Mo, my number 2.
Your number 2.
My number 2 is Past Lives.
Man,
ooh,
incredible! I tried so hard to get that in my 5. That movie's great.
I wasn't expecting you to have that high, right?
Past Lives is devastating, and
it's
wrecked me, man. And I didn't cry like I almost cried in the color. Thank you, The Color Purple today, because like it was just so much. At the end of Color Purple, it was like so overwhelming and so heartfelt, and like it was just this big thing. Past Lives is not this big thing. It's like
Past Lives, it's like you leave the theater and you keep thinking about it and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's just so real. It's the most real movie that I think I've seen this year. And now granted, of course, we haven't seen all the other ones, but like it is the most down to earth, honest portrayal of what adult relationships and love and loss looks like.
Yep.
Not to mention pitch perfect performances, and that just ending scene is just I'll think about that for the rest of my life.
That's like a knife to the heart, bro. That ending scene is like a knife to the heart.
Her walking away crying, I did have like tears in my eyes when I was watching that, but like it really was I think it was the most honest and real movie that I've seen this year. And it's going to suck if it doesn't get nominated for anything. There is a push by A24 because they actually released it in a window when nothing else was out, like they should have done with Iron Claw. Regardless, who am I to tell A24 like past Oscar winners what to do? But
they just want every Oscar.
Yeah, I know. So what I just think Celine's song, and Greta Lee deserve all the love in the world, including the 2 men.
I think it'll for sure get a Best Picture nomination.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it will be in the 10.
It'll be in the 10. I don't know like which fives it'll be in, but with Best Picture being 10, I think it'll
Yeah,
be in
and
there.
Teo Yu as Hae Sung and John Magaro as the two dudes just desperately trying not to fuck it up are
That
incredible.
scene in the bar is one of the more awkward things that I've seen this year on a movie screen.
Right?
In a good way. It is incredibly awkward and perfectly acted by all three of those performers. It's crazy. It's crazy that they were able to pull that off.
Yeah.
The scene where like the new guy is just asking her like, so like what is it like? Like what's happening? Like that shit was so real and so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Brilliant movie, brilliant directorial and writing debut, and awesome for Celine Song, who I believe was like Greta Lee, who I believe was like a comedy actor in a bunch of other stuff.
That's so crazy to think
this.
that person is a comedic actor because her performance is just so mind blowing in that film. That's crazy.
Ain't shit funny.
Yeah. No, it's funny about past lives.
Not at all. All right, Tej, number one.
My number one is Across the Spider-Verse, man.
Ooh.
I just the way they open with her playing the drums and the beat over it and the way that she's narrating where they are in the story. I have been thinking about that probably every day since I've seen this film.
It's on Netflix. I popped it on and I was just to feel something.
I've done that at least 10 times. That shit bangs. What an incredible way to open a film, especially coming off of that first film. The way that Spot is such a dweeb at the beginning and he's so fucking terrifying by the end of the movie is just great filmmaking. The only thing that like I would even have one criticism is that Miguel O'Hara, I'm like, he's okay. But that getting out of Nueva York, getting into when they're in India, like this movie, that shot where they're on top of the building and it's him and Gwen, and then they go upside down, and so you see New York upside down. It's just so many amazing decisions. The movie is extremely funny. The voice cast is obviously perfect. I love Across the Spider-Verse, and the fact that they were able to make a movie that good coming off the hype of the first one and that first movie they made, they were able to make a better movie in my opinion. Although the first one will always have a special place in my heart, they made a better movie, which is insane. They made a perfect movie and then they made a better movie. That's insane.
There's a very high likelihood that, I mean, I'm sure the third one will be great, but there's a very high likelihood it's like Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I think.
So that's a good pick. I mean, it's probably, you know what? I mean, I don't know if it's the best movie that I've seen this year, but it's close, and that's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. What they were able to do is just such an accomplishment. Lord and Miller just have like, it's like watching fucking Michael Penix carve up the Texas defense. They didn't miss any throws.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
they didn't miss any throws. They were just perfect at the top of their game. And I saw that in theaters 2 times. I've loaded up on Netflix at least 3 times. Like it's just a near perfect film, and it was the film that I enjoyed the most this year out of a fucking really difficult slate. I got to 20 or 25 films to. I didn't give a Mario love. I didn't give Turtles any love. Bottoms, Theater Camp. This year was just fucking phenomenal. I can't believe Mission Impossible didn't make my 5. I loved Mission Impossible. It was great. What a year. I'm very thankful for our year in cinema. 24 might be a little slow. Obviously, the pandemic stuff was a bit slow. I'm very happy that we got the year of 2023, and I cannot wait to dig into the Oscars. Not every movie that we're mentioning today will be Oscar bait, obviously, but a lot of them will. A lot of the other stuff that we haven't seen yet, and I can't wait to dig into these movies on this podcast. I am very grateful for our year of cinema in 2023.
Spider-Gwen, Roma Dunze. Yeah, anyway, Dex, number 1, take it away.
The ultimate normie pick for 2023. It's got to be Oppenheimer.
It's got to be number 1 for me.
It's got to be Oppenheimer.
It's Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. I went and saw it that Thursday night, late as shit. I think I got out of the movie at like 2 a.m. I sat there in the theater as the credits rolled, and I literally said out loud, I fucking love movies, man. Like, I came out of that movie, and I think I also tweeted it. I was like, what a fucking art form. Like media, like movies is so fucking cool. They like Christopher Nolan pulled off something just so spectacular, so like all encompassing and just engrossing and perfect to me. Like I loved damn near every second of it. Like you said, they fucked up Florence too. Like they should have given her more to do. Obviously, she can do way more than she did in this movie. Everything else about this movie, I fucking loved and was fully invested in and engrossed by. And I will go to my grave thinking about the scene where after they successfully detonate the bomb, he's walking into
Bleachers.
this like pep rally and they're stomping on the bleachers, and you realize that the sound you heard in the trailer, like a sound you've never heard in your life before, you heard it in the trailer, and you realize there's people stomping on the bleachers celebrating blowing up
Crazy.
Japan with a fucking atomic bomb. And you're like, this is,
And you feel gross. You feel so gross. It's
you
so
feel
good.
gross. It's like you can't do this with any other art form. Like you can't make this happen any other way than a fucking movie. And like that,
the promo and everything leading into it, yeah, it's an interesting
That's
point.
so good, man.
it had to be my number one. Like I couldn't put anything else there.
Not to mention, you said everything that probably could have been said, but not to mention the just like Cillian Murphy of it all.
Man.
He just is on screen 98% of the movie and has most of the dialogue and is pitch perfect. He's
so fucking tortured, man. It's such a good performance. It's such a good performance.
He's so good, and so for a character that was constantly, for a man that was constantly thinking about his destiny and his place in the world and what he meant, he's so sort of unsure and sure of himself at the same time. And I don't know, he is just one of the best performances that I've seen in a biopic in a long time. And I think that he deserves to win the Oscar. He probably will win the Oscar. Granted, the olds get in there and like vote for Giamatti or something like that. But like it,
please don't. I like the holdovers, but please don't.
Yeah,
don't make us have to correct the record every time
right.
we speak about this year in movies.
But also,
like, don't do that.
Not for nothing, Christopher Nolan's movies, he does get movie star performances out of movie stars, but they haven't been movies where people have gone on to win Oscars. And so to have that sort of...
He's never made anything this good before.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fair, but I'm just like, for what it's worth, it's just like, it's so much more in depth and so much more mature and adult than anything that Christopher Nolan has ventured into before, and so much more... I don't want to say focused because all of his movies are focused, but it's so much more aware of what it's trying to say. And not only that, you have Matt Damon coming in and just being like, what the fuck? And it's just like, and it's just awesome. And that's just movie star shit, man. He makes movies like how old movies used to kind of be made, where you just had movie stars come in, deliver 50 lines, and then they're out. And then you're just like, hey, that was Matt Damon, and it's just like,
yeah, that's what I love about Matt Damon. Is like every time he shows up on screen, you're like, "Hey, that's Matt Damon," and it doesn't take away anything from the movie.
No,
like
no,
like you could. There are some actors where it's like, "Hey, that's Keanu Reeves," and like if it's not the exact right role, like that takes a lot away from the movie. But Matt Damon, that's Matt Damon. Don't care.
Yeah.
This still fucks. Like
RDJ gives a really good performance. He's probably going to be nominated for an Oscar. Does he win? Notwithstanding, but I think it's his best performance, not since like, I mean, honestly, like Endgame, but like his best non-Iron Man performance in years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think he gets awesome performances, the likes of which he's probably never seen. This movie made nearly $1 billion for a rated R biopic about making the atomic bomb and the war crime that we committed against Japan. And I just think that like, it's unbelievable that they were able to focus the story in the way that they did. And look, the great man story, I guess, is tired, but it's at some point, man, sometimes it still fucking works.
Not for your boy.
You're gonna make it this good. Just make more.
Also, real quick, this not being on the short list to get nominated for best special effects is a goddamn travesty. What the hell are we doing?
I don't understand that. I don't.
They
He literally
recreated
showed
the
us an
atomic bomb.
explosion in pieces. Like what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Oppenheimer, number one for me. On my, I know we're going long, 3-hour podcast, boys. We did it.
We did it.
On my honorable mentions, I had How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
Me
I
too.
had
I
Godzilla.
didn't get to that.
I had Godzilla -1, and what was another? I would put Poor Things on that list as well too, and Mission Impossible, and Barbie.
Air, we haven't mentioned. I also had Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is still just such an impressive feat on his way out the door. And I saw X, Dumb Money, and Radical, and Maestro on my list of movies that made my honorable mentions.
I should also mention I have Rye Lane, which if y'all haven't watched that, it's on Hulu. It was
Mo had that in their top 5.
yeah,
I've never seen it.
It's a great romantic comedy.
I think it came out like a year ago today. Like,
Yeah, it was in like Sundance
came
2
out-
years
wow.
ago or something like that. Yeah.
it came out on Hulu like right at the beginning of January, and I just never got around to
It's
it.
a
but I still need to
really
watch it.
funny take on rom-com tropes, and I think it's one of the funnier rom-coms that have come out in a long time. In a year where they kind of put out some shitball streaming rom-coms, like this was a really, really fantastic take on one, and I think y'all should give it a chance. Any Dex? Any others?
My the rest of my top 10 is Kill Little Flower Moon at number 6. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret at 7.
Yeah.
Renaissance at 8 because I just fucking love that.
I
so
almost
much.
had Renaissance top 5. I came so close, but that shit is incredible.
Guardians 3 at 9, and then Sanctuary at 10.
I should also mention for all the people that keep talking to us about it in our group chat, Blackberry,
Great.
Real Cinema.
Still haven't seen it. Need to get on that.
Real cinema.
Real Cinema. Glenn Howerton. Give him a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Why not? That'd be really funny. Anyway, that has been a 3-hour one take podcast, mega movie review. Dex and I have to work tomorrow. Holy shit! On Central Time. Tej, it's like 5 o'clock in the
late as
afternoon
hell
there.
for y'all. It's like 11:30 here, which means 1:30 in the morning for y'all.
Yeah. So thank you so much for a great year in movies. Next year may not be as good, but we will be here covering it. And also, look, for all the movies that we didn't cover here, they're going to be coming out on streaming and like in limited releases, hopefully in our theaters. So we will cover them eventually.
Yeah, we're ready to see them.
And we may retcon our 2023 list along the way. But on top of all of that, this is your one-stop shop for all of your Oscar coverage. When the nominations come out,
Yes.
we will cover those in full. We will cover the Golden Globes. We will also cover probably the Critics Awards and things like that. We'll talk about them. But this is your one-stop shop for following that. And we'll also probably talk a lot about the odds as those odds continue to come up on like goldderby.com. So, yeah. Thank you so much for hanging with us and continuing to hang with us into the new year. Dex, as always, one more time, what are we doing?
Hashtag support Florence Pugh, baby.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Happy New Year. We're out.